Good evening, one and all. It is I, Kirby Rawstorn. But wait, 'tis not only me. It is also these other people who I have with me, and I'm checking the volume levels of very carefully. Why?
Hi.
Well, that works. Cool. Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear you. Uh, Chat, please sound off if you are able to hear these lovely people with me. For with me, I have.
I cannot believe you're doing that because I was going to do the same thing.
I hate you all. With me, I have Nummy Numbers.
Hello, is this the bit where we're supposed to say what our character is? Because you didn't tell us before we started.
Oh, no, you just say who you are.
You just said who I was.
I mean, say hi. Okay, never mind. We're professionals here. Also with me, I have Tex Unplugged.
Hi.
Very good. Final, not final. Next, I have
I don't know
Luna.
what else you want us to say. I thought you were just saying it's this person, just saying hi.
Sure, I mean, fine. Everyone say hi.
Should we do this again and pretend we did this competently from the start?
Fuck the lot of you. Yes, hello. I am Kirby Rawstorn, and these people are also here. I'm a charity streamer under the organisation Roll Together. Today we're playing D&D. The people you see before you are all in their D&D get-up, and I am dressed like a dungeon master crossed with a vampire that's having a midlife crisis. So, just as a quick introduction for what is going on today, we are raising money, as always, for a charity. The charity we're currently raising money for is the LGBT Foundation, who support members of the LGBT community, as the name might say. Nami has just posted a link in chat. Thank you very much. If you do want to make any donations, please do so there. Now, we normally have tips where if you donate money or do any kind of thing, then there is some kind of benefit to that. I eat a bean, I sing a song, I put on a funny voice, etc. That is not happening today. However, anyone who does make any donations or anything like that, the donations will carry forward onto next stream. So if you do make any gift subs or keep, do any money or anything like that, you'll get it next time you're in chat. We'll make a note of that. Just make sure I know it's you. That should be fine. Next things next. We have music provided by Sirenscape. It is an obligation of mine to tell people at the beginning of my streams that Sirenscape is providing my music. However, I would do so even if they didn't make me do it, because they're lovely and their music's great. So I am using Sirenscape Fantasy Player, and a description on the VOD. A description will be in the link that will take you to all the relevant bits on their site, so you can see what stuff I'm using and potentially buy it yourself. So that is what we have. Finally, is there anything else anyone wants to say before I start off with a recap? Nummy, you look like you're burning to say something.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at you saying VOD. Please continue.
Because it sounds like VD or what?
No, because every other normal person calls it a VOD. Sorry, please continue.
One of these newfangled video on demand, don't you know?
So do you call like text or do you call them SMS messages when you have to refer to them by acronym?
I don't do that. I use WhatsApp like a normal person.
Okay, what do you call a PDF then?
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Just please continue.
I hate you all. Why do I do this to myself? Very good. Okay. Right. Sorry, I'm just getting my D20s in a rhyme so I can kill you all. Yes. Right. Okay. So next up, just a brief recap of everything that has happened so far. You arrived in the land of Barovia. All of your characters finding that you had no memory. You traversed the land and found yourself at Barovia Village, at which point one of your members, no mentioning who, Jack Stable, pole vaulted over a wall. You navigated your way through the village, which was incredibly deserted and full of people just generally wailing and rending their garments, and found your way to the house of a woman named Mary, who had been somewhat ostracized by the rest of the village, and who told you that her daughter had run away from home to the castle, the imposing castle that was across the skyline of the village, and asked you to rescue her and return her home. Telling you that the daughter's name was Gertruda. From here, you went on to the Burgermeister's house of Ismark, the Burgermeister of the village, where you met his daughter, Ireena, who was slightly suspicious and shot at you, but luckily missed. Eventually, you talked your way into the house, and Jack, the workhorse, shall we say, of the group, was sent to the pub to fetch wine, and Ireena's brother, Ismark, who he returned with, and you were tasked with taking Ireena and Ismark to Vallaki, in the hope that she would be free of the threat of the villainous Count Strahd, a vampire who rules the land of Barovia. However, the prerequisite was that you help with the burying of her father first, who had died 3 nights before of a heart attack. You took the father to the church the next day and buried him after witnessing a kind of a zombie plague, I guess, from the night before, who tried to breach the house but without success. You met Father Donovich there, who told you about his son, who had been turned into a vampire by Count Strahd, and he was attempting to purify him himself, with little effect so far. However, he asked you to just basically go away and let him get on with stuff, because you were distracting him. Meanwhile, as this happened, you heard music, the dance macabre from the graveyard, at which point you decided, better not go out there, just barricade the doors and wait until the noise stops, which you did. The noise stopped, you opened the doors, and you didn't go and check anything, so it was all fine. Yeah. You then eventually left Barovia, the village of Barovia, in the land Barovia. You can see why that's confusing. Leaving in the direction of the Sur Camp, which was the first port on your journey. The Sur Camp being home to the Vistani troop. And you spent the night there. You met a chap called Thomas Iskander, who is the tax collector for Barovia. You also met with a woman named Madame Eva, and she gave you a card reading of the Taroka, and told you of 3 weapons, 1 ally, and the location with which you could do final battle with Strahd, should you ever wish to do so. The night continued, and you had some curious dreams, possibly memories, though who can tell in such a land. You continued on towards Vallaki and crossed a treacherous ravine, got knocked over by a ghost horse and its rider, and then made your way to a crossroads where you found a large black carriage, which had an invitation pinned to the side, asking you whether you wish to come and dine at Castle Ravenloft. You all decided to attend, agreeing to abide by the rules that you incite no violence, steal nothing, and do not trespass where not permitted. You arrived at the castle, were greeted by Rahardin, shown into the dining hall, where you met Count Strahd von Zarovich, who asked you about your plans for what you planned to do while you were in Barovia, revealed to you that he was the one who had brought you to Barovia to find a replacement for himself, and then implored you to prove yourselves worthy throughout his land. During this, Ireena had stayed at the far end of the table and was growing progressively worse, having consumed quite a large quantity of wine, it seemed. Strahd excused himself and invited you to explore his castle and then leave when you were done, basically. At which point Sorrow vanished off and went for a little recce round. The rest of the group followed shortly afterwards, and they found a Gertruda, a woman called Gertruda, charmed in a bedroom in Strahd's castle, and they were last seen with a Gertruda mounted on the shoulders of a druid, going off to explore the castle further. So that is where we left off last time. So, can I ask you, very briefly, to introduce your characters? Perhaps starting with Sorrow.
Hello. My character is Sorrow. She is a human war mage, and she has not got time for any of your nonsense.
Fantastic. And Jack.
So I am playing Jack Stable, the stable hand turned unstable knight, who is a doer of good and always wants to help everyone around him, usually without thinking about the consequences of what that actually entails.
Fantastic. And let's not get that onto the other screen. Okay. Excellent. Rose.
I am playing Rose, who is a changeling shadow sorcerer who just doesn't trust anyone and doesn't really want to be here.
Fantastic. And Yaki.
Yeah, hi, I'm playing Yaki. They are a dark elf cleric, and they just do random shit for the fun of it.
Fantastic. Now, so previously we have been playing with a character called Sive. Unfortunately, they can't attend these anymore, so their character will be ducking off at some point in the very near future. But yeah, just to cover that off from previous games. Very well. Let us begin the game, he said, making sure the desktop audio was coming through. Not very loud. Hopefully you can hear the sound of rain and thunder. But apparently not music.
Hark, everyone, I hear the sound of rain and thunder, but not music.
Thank you, Luna. I mean, Rose.
Haven't heard the thunder yet. Must be quite a way off.
I mean, in fairness, you are indoors in a massive castle.
I'd be really disappointed to be in a castle and not hear thunder.
What
Okay.
you're changing is here.
That's racist.
Also rich coming from an elf.
Wow!
Ooh.
That's worse.
So, very good. Let us in that case start with Sorrow. Sorrow, you were often about exploring the castle, searching for things. Would you like to make me a quick investigation check?
Yes, Kirby, I would. It's 23.
Very good. This is kind of what I hoped would happen. You find yourself wandering through. You wander through the castle. Rain is pouring outside, though it seems a long way away, and you can hear the distant rumble of thunder. Yeah, there. You look at the castle around you, and it's not finely furnished in the sense of like that you might expect from a regal castle. It's kind of very functional. There are carpets, but they're not lavishly embroidered or anything to that effect. They're just functional carpets. There are tables with stands and a couple of statues and ornaments on, but again, nothing you would call gauche. And everything seems quite clean. There isn't dust everywhere, and you kind of pick all this up as you just wander through. It seems like the castle is relatively well maintained. You pass various rooms. They often have doors. Some of them are ajar, some of them are not. You peer into some. You see like a room full of books. You take a quick moment to investigate, but find that they are, largely speaking, a collection of just ramblings that don't particularly interest you. Nothing nothing quite on your level, shall we say? Nothing arcane. However, you do find like a collection of various fictions and things to that effect. You wander through further, you find more functional rooms, rooms that are clearly for servants or for guests or something of that nature. Eventually, you find yourself in front of a locked door that, based on your incredible intelligence and mental mapping of the castle, you believe to lead you up to one of the towers. However, you go out and you put your hand on the door, you twist it, and it kind of just rattles a little, as a door might if it were locked.
Well. We're not supposed to go where we're not. I'm sure he said that we're not supposed to go anywhere that's locked.
Pretty much, yeah.
So presumably he's going to kick off if I try and go up there.
Indeed.
Can I find another way to go in that direction? Is there just one door to this tower?
So, based on where you're looking at, this is a tower that rises above. Say you've got the four towers in the corner of the castle, but there are some kind of like more central spires that rise up higher than the others, and that's where you've been looking to go. And based on your judgment, this would lead to one of those spires, and it seems like probably the only way to go to get to this particular spire. You could look for somewhere else if you wanted to. However, just make me a quick perception check, please.
Oh dear. 5.
5. Very well. You're examining this door, you determine it's locked, and you turn around, having heard nothing, and you see a familiar figure stood a respectful distance away. However, just as you turn around, there is a flash of lightning, and the window that you're stood next to kind of illuminates the corridor, and you see this dark shape illuminated before you, which then lightens to reveal the Count Strahd von Zarvach. Says,
Of course it does.
Good evening. How are you finding the castle?
It's not as fancy as I was expecting.
Yes, I apologize. I prefer form over function. Function over form. Whichever way around. I'm not familiar with that phrase. Forget I said anything. Yes, I prefer things that work rather than things that look nice. I was hoping I might get a chance to speak with you alone, away from your comrades. Would you care to walk and talk?
Which direction are we going to walk in?
Kind of like points back down the corridor in a direction that you haven't come from.
Okay. So I haven't really got my steps in today, and stairs are a really good workout. There aren't any stairs nearby, are there?
He kind of like looks at the door behind you and says, yes. However, unfortunately, that is an area that is off limits. I could take you, for example, down to the lower areas of the castle if you'd be more interested.
Downstairs does not work the same way as. Never mind. Okay, sure. Let's go that way.
I think perhaps you would be more interested in something else. I would have to show you. I could make, shall we say, I can make the walk worth your while.
Okay.
Very good. He kind of like he walks amiably down the corridor, kind of like waiting for you to keep pace. Kind of just like slows down.
I'll follow him, but I'm gonna walk slightly behind him.
Okay. He's like awkwardly trying to turn around to talk to you, trying to like treat you as an equal, but also at the same time you seem to be walking behind him. So he flips around and starts walking backwards.
That's fine.
and says,
Hopefully towards the stairs.
"If you want to go towards the stairs." He begins working his way down a maze of corridors, and says, "Oh, so it kind of like making a little bit of small talk for it to begin with." And it just before you can sense the conversation about to escalate, he kind of just arrives at the door, very unassuming door. You see him extend a hand onto it, touch the handle of the door. I almost said knob then. Touch the handle of the door. Kind of, you see the familiar whisper of a few arcane words under his breath before the door swings open. And he invites you inside. Within, you see that there is a burning fireplace and a table stacked with things, scrolls, books, writing parchment, ink and quills, and all those kind of things that you find comfort in as well. It seems to be a study of some kind. He says, "Would you please enter my study?"
I take one step into the study, but leave one foot still on the other side of the doorframe. And also, I've made a mental note of where I have gone and where this room is.
Sure, make an intelligence check.
Is it just intelligence?
Just straight intelligence, yeah.
In that case, it is
It's
19.
June. I can't believe you'd say such a thing. Never
What?
mind. You said straight intelligence, and I was like, it's June.
Oh, make a non-sexual intelligence check. Anyway, sorry, I was trying to.
19.
Yeah. Sure. You are fairly confident that you remember the pathway back from the tower that you took without difficulty. He invites you in. Just kind of like goes and sits down at what looks to be a well-worn but comfy-looking chair at the desk, kind of near the fire. There is other seating arrangements should you wish to come in and sit yourself, or if you're going to stand in the doorway, kind of like leaning coolly on the door frame, that is also fine.
No, I'm just standing. I'm just standing in the doorway.
Uh,
I don't need to lean.
Very well. You stand there. He's kind of like turns around, expecting you to follow, but seemingly ignores it. Now, as I said, I was hoping to speak with you alone, from you're separate from your compatriots. As I mentioned before, the candidacy for Lordship of Borovia is currently something that is open to those who would be interested. I'm sure you know that you are the only member of your party who would be suitable for such a role. If you were to aspire to such a thing, I should make this clear to you now. The Lord of Barovia is unable to leave, hence why I am looking to abdicate the throne. I've been here for a very long time, and now I am seeking adventure elsewhere. However, I could not leave my land unprotected, and so I seek a worthy replacement. That is you, I think, possibly, if you seek the position. I will not force it on you, but I think you could do things here. Good things. Great things. However, one thing you should also know. You were brought here as a group, and as such, only one of you may leave. It is a fickle part of the enchantments, but not all of your group will be going home. I thought I should make you, the obvious leader of the group, aware of such a thing. Anyway, would you? Now, I will let you decide on your own. Forget I would ask. But anyway, I've taken enough of your time. This is all I wish to ask and inform of you. Is there anything you wish to say to me before I give you a gift and I'll have you depart?
Where is it that you want to go and why?
Anywhere else. I have been here a very long time, and no matter how grand a prison, it is still a prison after so much time.
Hmm.
Don't misunderstand. I love this land deeply. I've fought for it and I have protected it for millennia. But I do wish to leave.
Well, this was all very interesting, but I'm sure you have
Business to attend to.
lordly tasks.
Lordly duties, of course.
Mm.
Very good. Would you like to just roll me a d8 quickly, please?
8.
I had a feeling it would be. I don't know why. He pulls, kind of like, rifles through a bunch of papers and things on his desk, through kind of things that have been rolled up, and pulls one out, pops it. You see him roll it up and stick it into a scroll tube, and just kind of on the end, and stands up and hands it to you. It's a very fine piece of metal, clearly watertight, and seems to be resistant to things like rust. Just at a casual glance, you can see it's got some kind of like minor arcane enchantment just to keep everything within it safe. I think you might find this useful on your journey. Anyway, do not let me detain you, please. Feel free to return to the door that so captivated you before.
I turn around and walk straight back out.
Yeah. You make your way down the corridor to wherever it is you should wish to within the castle. Meanwhile, the rest of you are just leaving the bedroom of Gertruda. She being situated on top of the shoulders of your druidic companion, Sive. And you're beginning to wander through the corridors. What would you like to do? Where would you like to go? What am do? Jack Stable tries to unmute himself.
I changed the key binding. I would like to see if I can like scout out a clear route towards the front door.
So you remember quite clearly how to get through, or to how to get downstairs to the dining hall from whence the way out the front door is pretty much, take a left. So you already know that, or are you trying to find a different way?
I'm quite happy to take the route, but I want to like keep my head on a swivel to look for anything that may try, or anyone that may try to stop us getting Gertrude out.
Okay, perception check, please.
Ooh, new dice. Oh, it's a. Ooh, not too bad. 18 minus 1, 17.
17. You see no one around, though you do hear the sounds of shuffling throughout the castle. Every now and again, you'll just walk past somewhere and just hear like the shuffling of feet. It's like there's an elderly person just out of sight that you can never quite catch up to. Just hear them, the sound of slippers on carpet.
Every time I hear the shuffling, I just go pause and keep going.
Okay. As this happens, so in fact, if I could get a quick marching order. So we've got Jack at the front, Rose and Yaki. Whereabouts are you?
I was going to ask, were we still in the corridor where, like, outside of
Mhm.
Thingy's room?
Yeah.
What does the rest of the corridor look like?
So the door that you went to happened to be the one containing Gertruda. However, the rest of the corridor is fairly similarly furnished. It's quite a wide corridor. Number of doors, 4 or 5 in total, including Gertruda's. But they seem to be quite wide and ornate doors.
I was going to say, can I try, like, each of the doors?
Yes, very well. Just let me get out my map. Oh god, paper's falling everywhere.
I don't know if we are going past them, but I just...
If you want to go past them, you can. Like, they're not far away. There we go. Wrong page. It's a big map, sorry. Okay, there we go. That's one. Sorry. The map is laid out in this book in a very confusing way because the ground floor is not on the same. It's on different pages and in different orders to what you might expect. There we go. Okay, you go up to the first door after Gertruda's, try the handle, and again it swings open without difficulty. And from within, you can see a further bedroom, seemingly empty at the moment. You have a quick look around, quite nicely furnished, but it's a bit of an old musty smell. Clean, but still smells musty. It seems like it hasn't been inhabited for quite a while. Though there isn't any dust, so weird combination of musty but unused. Musty but clean, sorry. You going to continue going through to the other doors?
Yeah, I want to check them all.
Okay. I'm searching for quite the right page. I'm doing this off memory, so apologies for the slight delay. There we go. You head up to the next door. They all seem to follow a theme. Most of them are bedrooms. Some of them look like they have at least been used in recent history, though none have occupants at the moment. There is you kind of reach the end of the corridor and it turns a bend. So it depends. Are you following around? Are you going to keep looking in the bedrooms, or are you going to... You haven't found anything so far. Are you going to continue looking, is what I'm asking.
I kind of want to, yeah.
Very good. Okay. You head round the corner, and you see an even grander set of double doors than before. You have... There seems to be no other doors on this particular part of the corridor, though it is a very long corridor and runs almost the full length of the castle. And yeah, there are these set of double doors before you.
Are they locked?
You extend a hand. They do seem to be locked.
Well, that's annoying. Can I put my ear up to the door?
Yes. To make a perception check, please. Yaki and Jack, what are you doing while this is occurring? Are you all staying together? Are you...
I thought you said Yankee.
Yankee. Well, Yaki, whereabouts are you? Are you...
That is a good question. Probably sticking with Rose.
Okay, that's fine. And Jack as well?
So don't click off the screen. So I'm assuming, and I sort of indicated to Scythe that we're heading towards the door and we're trying to get Gertruda out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to carry on with my shuffling and military style stopping and starts.
Okay, so are you sticking with the group? So Rose is going in a kind of different direction to where she seems to be following her curiosity along the corridor, but the way that you know to be out is in a different direction. Are you gonna stick with Rose and all stick together, or are you gonna?
I'm sticking with my mission of getting Gertruda out.
Okay, so you and Scythe head off in a slightly different direction. Yaki and Rose, you find yourselves around the corner, and you're listening to this door when all of a sudden you kind of like do a quick look and oh, hang on, they seem to have departed. So the two of you are currently alone together. Perception check. What did you get?
16.
16. Okay. From within the chamber, you hear the very faint sound of music, not like that of an instrument, but like that of a music box. It's very kind of like plinky, but quite haunting. A slightly sad melody.
It sounds like such vibes. It's definitely not open. I'm gonna like.
Give it a little rattle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not open, and the music continues to play.
We can't go in there, can we?
We probably shouldn't. I think we should help get Gertruda out safe.
Yeah. I was worried there might be more of them, but there's not.
There probably are, but I don't know if we'll be able to get everyone out.
Yeah. Yeah, should we go follow Jack then?
Very well. Jack and Scythe, you've been making your way towards the stairs very slowly, just kind of like every now and again you'll hear a noise and just freeze. So you've not made too much progress. Rose and Yaki, you emerge around the corner, and it's at this point that you see Gertruda just do this unbalancing act, being sat on top of Scythe's shoulders. She's clearly gotten bored, and she's kind of like in her magically charmed state of mind seems to be taking some course of action. You see Scythe just topple over, and she kind of gets up and just tears off down down the corridor in the opposite direction to which either of you have come, just kind of like laughing, not maniacally or anything, but just as a child might when they run, or a young more of a young woman, but as someone slightly juvenile might if they were having fun and playing a game. And you see Scythe just kind of like pick up and just run after them as well.
I feel like my instinct would be to run as well.
Yeah. I follow.
Sounds good. Jack, make me a quick perception check, please. Yeah, you two emerge around the corner, see this happen, and just start running. You're about 30 or so feet behind Scythe, and you see kind of like Gertruda just ping around a corridor and kind of go out of sight. Scythe very shortly after follows as well. What'd you get, Jack?
6 minus 1, so 5.
Okay, you're busy shuffling towards the exit, so it's only when Rose and Yaki run past you kind of you've been focusing on this. you see Gertruda run off, and then you kind of stand up and go, what? And you see these two book it past, and then it's at that point that you kind of follow in. So it's Yaki and Rose leading the charge, Scythe ahead of you. And as you turn around a corner, you see Scythe running headfirst through this doorway. The door is just flung open. You see her run through this room. Pause for a second. These couple of arcane flashes, and all of a sudden she kind of looks at you, and then just explodes into this shower of sparks. Let's see. Let's make a quick Arcana check. Anyone who's watching.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That's a 9.
Oh dear.
Oh, well, +4, so it's 6. It could have been worse.
Okay.
A 12 for Jack.
12. Right. Rose and
The non-magic user.
Sometimes it takes a spectator to see more of the game. Rose, Yaki, you are convinced that Scythe has just exploded. There's like a plume of flame that just seems to encapsulate her, and then the shower of sparks that erupts afterwards in all myriad of colours, like blues, greens, oranges, and yellows. And you see, and then all gone, and then nothing. Jack, slightly further behind, you see the flash of colour, and you have the sense that, in fact, that Scythe is not dead, but you have this weird twinge of a memory that's like, oh, that looks like she's just been teleported somewhere.
I relay that information to everyone. Like, it's fine. She's not dead. She's just travelled.
Is that what your parents said when your pet died as a child?
Jack just pauses, and his
Oh no!
mouth
As his childhood collapses around him.
and this is the DM's discretion. He remembers from his days as a child many horses being around, and a good horse that he had when he was young, Little Pony, that just one day was no longer there.
Teleported away. Yes. Indeed.
Well, in that case, Jack, you sound like the authority on this. I choose to believe you.
And it's at this point that you just kind of see the door that was swung open just swing shut again, and you see that Gertruda's behind the door, and she's kind of creased up a little bit. It's like, I won the hide and seek. And just kind of seems slightly delirious, but also seems generally mirthful, and kind of is not really aware of what's gone on.
This is dreadful. She doesn't understand hide and seek. She didn't hide, she just ran.
Yes, that's our priority right now.
Also, has anyone seen Sorrow?
Are you talking about the person or the emotion?
Oh, I was talking about the stage play that was apparently in the village last week.
Were we even here last week?
I don't know.
No, you've been here for 2 days.
What is time?
I've lost track of time.
It's almost like when places are plagued with some kind of terrible thing that encompasses the entire known universe or known area of people, that everyone loses track of time and it becomes meaningless.
Temporal distortion. Just go with the Star Trek explanation.
Also
I
meant the
don't know what that
person. Has
means.
anyone seen her?
Not recently. Not since I did that sick thing with the magic dark downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, she's fine, right?
I mean, seems like she can help
Would you mess
herself.
with... Yeah, I was going to say, would you mess with Sorrow? Actually, Jack, don't answer that. You
Question
make a
is, do
fool
you
of yourself.
think it's a good idea to try and get Gertruda? It doesn't feel like it went very well. the scythe, maybe we're better off finding Sora and leaving and regrouping.
We get Gertrude out and we come back for Sora. We can get her out the nice way, or we can make her leave.
Okay, in which case, after you, Jack.
You turn around, and while you've all been having this discussion, you can see that Gertrude has opened the door and is just kind of like is peering into this room that Scythe has just run into. Turns around with a really confused expression on her face.
Yeah?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Where did she go?
Where
She's
did-
gonna win the game.
The game.
Hide
what
and
game?
seek. She's better at hiding than I am.
We found you, haven't we, Gertrude?
Yeah.
So, you come with us, and then we'll find Scythe.
Okay. She just looked
Can
really
I-
kind of like sulky. Just like, fine.
Can I don't know what kind of a check this would be. Tex, how dare you?
Yeah.
I
you
don't know
did.
what kind of a check this would be. But like, can I just look at her and like, is there anything there at all?
What do you? So when you say anything there at all, you mean like she's got like a baseline of her. It's like looking at her personality as a reflection in a pool. Like the outline's there, but it's quite heavily diluted. And you've seen this in like charm spells and things before. Like you have this memory of charm being like this. People basically go a bit foggy around the eyes and just go a bit scatterbrained, shall we say. Unless there's like a direct command that they've been given or something by the person that they are charmed by. I was going to say, you would also know that charm effects end after a time. It's not like she's going to be like this forever. It's just like it's like being drunk. You wake up in the morning with a hangover. She kind of like starts trudging with you, heading back in the vague direction of the steps. Okay. So, what would you like to do with your time in the castle? Are you going back to the door? Are you going to look for something else? What would you like to do?
I would like to open the tube that I have been given
Very
by
good.
Mr. Strahd.
Mr. Strahd. He does
Yeah.
make exceedingly good blood cakes. You open it up. There is a scroll within, full of arcane writing.
Well, arcane writings are my area,
See.
so I'm going to see if I can understand these arcane writings.
Yeah, make an Arcana check.
Okie dokie. That's a nat 20.
Okay. Yeah, you recognise a lot of the kind of like runes and symbols being used, and a couple of the diagrams and various bits and pieces. This is a spell scroll, and the spell is Spider Climb. Though it does seem to have some unusual variations from... Your brain just goes, that's not what I would have expected. And then you also think, why would I know that? Why would I know not to expect? What? And yeah, for a couple of seconds you just get stuck on the spinning ball of doom as your computer brain freezes, going, hang on, how do I know what not to expect when I don't know what to expect? Anyway, you've got a scroll.
Okay. Now, I don't know if anyone else is familiar with the Ballad of Skyrim, but in Skyrim, when you have a scroll, it's like a single use. You just use it and then you get to use it once. Now, I would probably know this,
You would.
but... So I am asking you,
Yes.
me, Nummy,
Ah.
is asking you, Kirby.
Yes.
Yes. What how,
What's Am do?
What am do, how does it
Cool.
work? Like, is
So-
it a learny thing, or is it I've got, like, I can use it once and then...
you've got a choice. You can either use it once, or as a wizard, speaking as a wizard, you can take some time, throw some gold in the nearest pond, and you can copy it into your spellbook as well.
Well, obviously, I want to copy it into my spell book. Can I? But can I only do that? Are you saying it's one or the other?
No, you can then use the scroll afterwards as well. So you could give it to someone else once you've learned it.
Give it.
Yeah. Or you
Give
could just
it
have it
to
as a one-time spell,
someone
and yeah.
Someone else? What? I don't understand those words in that order in that sentence. Anyway, yeah, but it would take me a while to use it, wouldn't it? Okay, right. Because it takes me a while to write things down, in my fancy book. I think maybe an interim measure. How long did it take for them to do all of that stuff where they were chasing after Gertruda and that Sora doesn't know about, but I do?
It would be coming to its end around about now. You've gone off for a little...
But how long did it take?
How long did it take?
Maybe around 10 minutes?
15, 20 minutes more like, but yeah, close enough.
Okay, well then in that case, I know I'm not allowed to go through the door, much as ideally would like to, but there are a lot of windows here because, Strahd did his whole cool, I'm illuminated by
Yeah,
lightning
there's a
thing.
window next to the tower.
So in that case, I want to cast a ritual spell to summon my familiar, because I'd like a little look up at the tower.
Okay. Yes. That's... well, the ritual takes an hour.
It does?
Yeah. Or casting a ritual takes 10 minutes.
That's not what my Google search result says.
Casting a ritual takes 10 minutes, and the spell Find Familiar
my brain
takes an hour.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. They're just chilling. I'm not breaking any rules. Just going to do my ritual.
Cool. So you're going to sit down in the hallway.
I'm going to sit down cross-legged in the hallway.
Are you sitting down next to the door with the castle-y...
Next to the nearest window.
Nearest window, okay.
The window nearest to that door.
Right. Okay. You get out your coloured chalks. You draw on the floor.
Coloured chalks? What is this? Play school?
You get out something to draw on the floor with.
I get out a knife and I
start cutting up the
start
carpet.
hacking up my own hand down the carpets. I just scratch it and no, I'm not.
Very good. You tell me how this ritual goes
ahead. Am I allowed
ahead.
to damage the carpets? He didn't say.
He never said there was no rule that said thou shalt not damage the carpets.
Well, then in that case, I'm just going to carve all of my arcane runes into his functional ugly carpet.
Yeah.
And
it's red because of course it is.
Yes, and then I'm gonna throw all of the pieces of like animal skull and stuff that I just happen to have about my person around.
Very nice. Okay. And you sit and you focus for an hour and 10 minutes.
It's lovely.
Yes, it's very zen. There is a lot of lightning cracking, but it's fine. It adds to the atmosphere of the ritual. And what form does your familiar take?
It's a raven.
It's a raven. Okay.
Nice.
So after a roughly an hour elapses, you look down and you hear, and in your brain you hear, "All right, boss."
Yes. Okay. It's go time. We're going to do some recon on the central tower, and I just want you to fly up there and tell me what you can see.
Okay. The bird immediately starts flattering against the windows.
I'll open the window.
The window it's unfortunately it's not that kind of window. You kind of like no. Hear me out. It is a sealed window, as many kind of like stone architecture windows are. You kind of like hear after a couple of seconds, the raven goes, "Boss, I think you can summon me on the other side of the glass. Just poof me up."
Oh
and
yeah,
bamf me
I
out
do
over
the
there.
thing where I banish him to the pocket dimension, and then he reappears 30 feet in front of me, but on the other side of the glass.
Yeah, outside of the glass, you see this raven appear in the rain because here in your brain, fucking wet. Just flapping there in front of you.
Sorry about that.
Where,
You're looking for the
where
central
to?
tower. Central tower, please.
Central tower. He kind of flaps up.
Central tower.
Yes, he flaps away. Now, as long as he's within 100 feet, I think you can talk to him in your brain.
I can talk to him in my brain within 100 feet, and if I would like to, I can also see what he sees and use his senses.
Okay, very good. So you see him flutter up, and you see Castle Ravenloft from above. There are two large central towers, and they go up side by side, like a pair of binoculars, if you think of it. And I'm not going to do the hand gesture because that was almost bad. Yeah, there are two central towers.
Kirby, I don't know how you're using binoculars, but I don't think you're doing it correctly.
As in, there are two cones side by side, like a pair of binoculars.
Which you would gesture by doing that.
Well, yeah, if I was referring to binoculars, yes, but I was trying to gesture the tower, which goes up.
Which is
Look, it's like this, all right? It's not like this.
apparently.
There's a word for that.
What's that?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Okay, very good. Yes, you get this bird's eye view, literally, of these two giant towers rising to obviously a peak. One is slightly higher than the other, and you can see that there is like a parapet, I think is the word. Like the tower opens out onto a large flat surface, whereas the other rises to a slightly higher peak.
Are there windows?
No, the tower itself does not have any windows. Once you get to the point where the two towers rise above the roofs, all windows cease. And the only kind of visible area, you can see a doorway that seems to lead into darkness where this parapet is. And it leads, it looks like it leads into the other tower. Make a perception check with disadvantage just quickly, please.
I rolled the same number twice.
What'd you get?
I got 8 all in.
8. Okay. Let's see. In your raven form, you catch a flash of movement in kind of like the lower part of the tower where there are windows, but they're not illuminated. You can just see kind of like dark shapes in the wall. And as I say, on the lower part where the other buildings also meet it, there are these windows. And you just see this tiny flash of movement go across your vision, but you're looking something else. You're focusing on the higher part of this tower, so you don't really see what it is, but you just... your bird kind of like flaps around for a second, and then kind of reverts its focus onto the tower.
Okay, but I can make a mental note of which.
As in the
Which
tower that you're
tower?
next to.
The one. Okay.
The one with the
it's
locked door.
one that I'm next to. Righty. All right then. Okay. Okay.
Very good. Okay. You return to yourself, I assume. Your bird puffs away and you return to yourself?
The bird just goes. And then 3, 2, 1, I'm back in the room.
Okay. You awake to find a body in front of you. When I say a body, it is upright and moving around. However, it is also undeniably a corpse.
Oh, okay. I was about to say it's not legally dead, but
it is legally dead. It is very much
Okay.
legally dead. However, it does seem to be moving as well. It doesn't seem to be interested in you in any way, shape, or form, but you can just see it just sitting next to you, just very slowly and methodically sewing up the rents in the carpet.
Oh.
And you kind of like hear every now and again as it just kind of like exhales some kind of corpse fume in your general vicinity. So, yes, that
Okay.
occurs.
I'm
As
just
this-
gonna gather up all of my crap and
Okay.
just leave him to his work.
You gather your crap, and just as you turn to leave, you hear a sharp rapping on the door from which you were trying
locked
to.
door?
The locked door.
Oh.
Very much a doot, 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 kind of like
Can I do the last two knocks?
you run up to the door and you do the last two knocks. And at which point we'll come back to Rose, Yaki, and Jack. You are making your way out of the castle. You are making your way out of the castle. You start descending the stairs that lead back to the dining room where the giant organ is. You head down the stairs, find yourself in the kind of odd little storeroom, and then make your way through a hidden door that you know leads to the dining room itself. Within you see Ismark and Ireena just kind of like sat at the table. Ireena is just kind of head in hand sat on the table, just shakingly, every now and again will raise a goblet of wine to her hand and then just drop it. And Ismark kind of just stood behind her, just giving little reassuring pats on the shoulder and just kind of like saying reassuring nothings. He kind of like looks around a bit. Hello, you lot. How was it? Is one of you dead?
That's a weird thing to assume.
We're in the castle of a. Well, you'd think, given the circumstances, you might be a little bit more worried. No. Also, Jack, sorry, you kind of phased out a little bit, so I didn't hear what you said.
Sorry, my mic must not be sensitive. I just came in and said, we leave now.
He says, yep, sounds good to me. Are we not waiting for your friend?
I'm confused. I thought we were looking for Sorrow. I thought we were going back to Sorrow.
We leave now. Quick, quiet. We come back for Sorrow.
Yeah,
What?
Why don't we... I tell you what, why don't we give these to Gertruda to look after and we'll go back and find Sorrow.
We
I'm
could.
I'm making sure she's out.
Okay. In which case, Rose, shall we go and find Sorrow? Is there like, I don't know, somewhere, you know, like maybe a couple 100 meters outside the front gate, was there like a tree or something that we could be like, let's just meet at this tree, or a big rock that's like
There's not a-
convenient meeting place?
you could find like a convenient meaning. Yeah, like you could just say, let's go stand outside the front of the castle. Like there was a large courtyard area.
Outside the gate, 200 meters down the road.
Me either.
I'll leave Gertrude and Ismark. And then once they're there, I'll come back. And help you
Whoa.
find Sorrow.
I assume you're also taking Ireena.
Yeah.
Not so fussed about the sister. Okay, gotcha.
Jack just
mean-
wants some alone time with his Mark.
It
And
won't be a long
Gertrude are
time. We've got Gertrude there.
Very good. So Yaki and Rose, you're heading up to search for Sorrow, are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, make me a quick investigation check.
Oh, nat 20. I don't know what I add to it. Hold on. Oh, plus 2, 22.
Can
Okay.
guarantee that's better than what I rolled. Investigation, so that's 5 in total.
Okay. You make your way up throughout the castle, and you kind of find yourself searching through various different corridors. You look in rooms that are open, but no sign of Sorrow. After a little while, you catch just a wisp of scent on the air. That seems to be something that indicates sorrow to you.
Of what exactly?
I don't know.
Kirby?
What does your character smell like, Sorrow?
Probably blood.
There we go. You catch a wisp of blood. The familiar and reassuring smell of blood on the air.
And Chanel number 5. There
we go. Blood and Chanel. And you begin following your nose throughout the castle, finding your way. It's at this point that you find Sorrow kind of like pressed up against a door next to a reanimated corpse that is sewing a carpet. And Sorrow's just kind of pressed up against the door and is rapping on it. And you kind of hear like a rapid rapping on the door from the other side as well.
Oh, we should have tried knocking. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, we should have done.
Is someone there? I say to the door.
You hear the very faint jingling of bells.
It's Santa.
Somehow, in a castle, rocks fall and kill. No.
Oh, maybe they can't talk. I have a book in my about my person and pens and stuff. I'm going to rip a piece out of the book and just write a note on it and put it under the door in case they can write something instead if they can't talk, maybe.
Okay. What do you write on the note? Or you just yeah.
What do I write on the note? I'm not going to write "Is it Santa?" even though I want to. I am going to write. Who's there? Are you trapped?
You pass the note under the and like as you pass it under, you feel that immediate tug of like someone tugging on something that you're holding in your fingers, and you let it go, and the piece of parchment disappears under the door. And you hear a very it doesn't sound like writing, but you hear a sound of like and then you feel the parchment being pushed back under the door, but it's much shorter than it was before. And you can see that the edges have been torn off, and it just says, "Are you trapped? Yes."
Are you trapped? Yes, it says.
Yes.
So they just wrote yes, or did
no?
They
You
rewrite?
wrote yes or no, I believe. Said,
No,
"Are you
I
trapped?"
just-
Oh,
No, I just wrote "Are you trapped?"
very well. Then they just hand back the bit that says, "Are you trapped?"
They've taken the rest of the paper so they can add to the list.
The naughty list or the nice list?
Yes, Santa's very much wanting for paper.
Oh, so they took some of the paper. Are they trying to tell? Okay. I've been doing a lot of thinking here. I don't know what you people have been doing. What is up with this? Also, where's the other one?
Which other one?
The one with the flowers. The druid. Where's the other one?
They went to live on a farm.
Say no more. I look sheepishly in Jack's direction. Just I don't want Jack to get upset for any reason.
Right,
Jack's not there.
Oh yeah, Jack's
So
not
where are the
Oh
other
yeah,
two?
Jack's not there. Oh, that's fine then. Oh, okay. Does Jack know about this?
Yeah, Jack was there.
Jack was the one who knew.
Okay, fine. That's fine.
I'm not sure if that's a euphemism for died. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, there's somebody in this tower, and I think it has to do with the reading that that Madame Eva gave. And I have seen movement in this tower they were moving in the tower, and then they knocked on this door, which is locked. We can't go in there. And I've seen Strahd, and I think maybe this marionette person could be on the other side of this door.
Interesting.
Can they definitely not make any noise? Are they just...
What if okay. What I'm gonna say through the door again. I don't know if they can understand me. I'm gonna say, "Are you trapped?" Knock once for yes, and twice for no.
Like in the Ballad of Most Haunted.
You hear a voice go, ooh, because most wants to, yeah. But then you just hear one single knock back on the door.
I've already forgotten what one meant.
One meant yes.
One is yes.
Okay, cool. Right. I don't have much to deal with locked doors.
I mean, I do. I can open a locked door, but he is gonna know, and then it's all gonna kick
Yeah,
off,
he
isn't
could
it?
be
So,
mad.
what else can we ask?
How can I kind of have a look at the door? Because I do have thieves' tools and ability to use them. So, does it look like a door that, say, a lock could be picked on?
Sorry, you're asking if thieves' tools can be used to pick a door?
Yeah,
This
or at least does it
particular
look
door.
like a door that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a keyhole.
have-
Like, it's not a particularly... You look at it with your... assume you have proficiency in thieves' tools and you don't just have them.
Yeah, I've got proficiency in that.
Okay, yeah. You look at it and you can see it's a very simple lock. Like, it's not complicated.
Do you want to just check the doors, make sure they're closed, in case Strahd relies on walking into random rooms? I mean, I kind of feel like if I pick the lock, he'll know.
Yeah, he's 100% gonna know. Can we look through the keyhole? I don't know how much light there is.
Yeah. You look through the keyhole, and from the other side, you see a pitch black eye with
Oh God! Oh.
with
God.
a white, not the iris, the white middly bit,
Pupil.
pupil. Thank you, white pupil, staring back at you, and you hear another little jingle of bells.
I was, as a joke, gonna say, is it like that creepypasta where you look and you only see red? And it's because the woman's looking back with her bloody eyes. But no, it literally is.
Wait, let me see what the. I call up into my memory. What it said, what Madame Eva said.
Okay, let's have a quick little look-see.
How are white pupils functional?
What an intelligent question. That will make sense when you see. If you see. Who knows? You may never see.
I don't know whether to feel patronised.
No, I sounded patronising, but it was actually a very intelligent question. And yes, that's... Yes.
To be fair, Rose is quite smart. She's just not very wise.
You hear so Madame Eva's words were, "What horror is this? I see a man made by a man, angelous and alone. It haunts the towers of the castle."
She
Oh,
also,
it's that
she
old
also
man.
said this card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. That was the important bit.
Oh, is it
Um,
like Hocus Pocus, where the zombie helps them out? Do
The
we
zombie's
have a Billy?
busy with the carpet.
Well, I know, but I was just thinking, is it going to be like if Strahd is like the Winifred Sanderson? Is this Billy the jilted ex-lover?
Yep. This is Billy.
Face palm. That's going to go on the bingo card too.
Oh god, I need to get a picture of this guy for next stream.
So, what do you reckon? Give it a go.
I don't know. I'm wondering if, presumably at some point we're going to be fighting Strahd, right? Maybe that would be a return trip to the castle, and perhaps we could free Billy then. I don't know.
It's called Billy now. Are you cool with being called Billy? Knock once for yes.
You hear 2 knocks.
Yes, yes.
Double affirmative. Yeah.
He's
Really enthused.
really okay about being called Billy. Okay. Yeah, this is the thing. Like,
That's the Addams family.
If we do this now, Strahd is not. That's going to be it. He's just going to kick off.
I mean, it'll probably just kick us out the castle,
Well,
which we'll
I
probably
think what
leave
he-
after this anyway.
I think what he said was that no harm would come to us if we kept within the rules. So I take that to mean that harm will come to us if we don't stick to the rules.
And why are we trusting what he says?
I mean, that's a good question, but also he seems like he enjoys harm, like given that he steals people's children and entrances them and stuff.
He sounds like a football manager. Also.
I just think if he was going to, we would have done it by now.
Really? I think he also likes he just likes to show off, doesn't he?
I can't believe Yaki's out here being like, yeah, he'd have done something by now. He can probably hear us. He's probably...
he can absolutely hear us. Strahd, I'm positive that you can hear us right now. But you
Strahd.
It's
also
like
know...
like
I
your
was looking at
FBI
this
agent
door.
losing your phone.
What's up?
I was looking at this door earlier, and he immediately appeared and knew that I was looking at the door. Like, he knows that I are interested in this door.
I've had a very not rose thought about this man created by a man, and I'm not going to share it. But you can imagine. Why has Strahd made this man? Is it like Rocky Horror Show? I have shared it now.
I love you guys. So, what is your plan of action?
What do you think, Rose?
I'm a bit distracted thinking about the fact that this is Strahd's homemade sex doll that is alive. I don't know if it is, but that's why my
possibly.
brain's gone.
While you're deciding this, Jack, you make your way down the table and bring Gertruda to Ismark and Ireena. Ismark kind of just looks at you and goes, yeah, I really think we need to get her out of here as soon as possible. When can we leave? And you hear, at the same time, there's this kind of like belching noise coming from Ireena, just like, as one does when one's had quite a few. And he just kind of like looks at you and goes, she's not a big drinker. When can we leave?
Your Ireena. I can't belch. Don't know what that feels like. But we leave now.
Okay, good. And he goes to like stand her up, and as she goes to stand up, you think she's going to vomit, but there's this kind of sudden eruption from her mouth of just this black ichorous liquid that just dribbles down her chin. You think for a minute she's vomited wine, but it just kind of strings and globs and drips down onto the table. And she kind of looks around at the both of you and just kind of like starts, as if she's trying to hold it back and not, like when you try not to be sick, she tries, you can see her kind of like holding whatever this stuff is within, and she kind of like just puts a hand onto Ismark's shoulder, just stumbles and starts stumbling to the door.
Mark,
Say again.
it's Mark. What's wrong?
He looks very almost shaken for a moment. You've not seen this in him before. He's been quite charismatic and brave face on things at the moment, but he's just at the moment looking quite freaked out. Like, I don't know. What the hell is that stuff?
He made this choice. I'll deal with it. But right now, I need to get this kid out of here.
Okay. And he kind of just looks like you're slightly crazy at you in that kind of like mind-boggling way. Okay. And then just starts leading Ireena out towards the front door.
But is Mark? We've got a plan. We get Gertruda out of here. 200 meters from the gate. That's our meeting point.
Right, and he kind of just starts again shuffling Ireena, who is staggering slowly towards the large double doors through which you entered. She's staggering in that direction, and he starts helping her. And presuming you're heading in the same direction.
Yeah, and as we're going, I'm talking to him like, right, I'm gonna need you when we get outside to take Gertruda to the meeting point. Keep her safe. But I'm staying with you until we're outside, and then I will help with Ireena.
Ireena is walking with you at the moment, and you're all walking in the same direction.
Yeah, I'm assuming that I'm going to sort of push Ismark away to get further away, like speed up to get Gertruda out of there. So like, I'm trying to persuade him, and in a little bit of it, like as well, be a little bit intimidating at the same time.
Right, so you're trying to push him as in faster than his sister's walking.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get
him and Gertruda out of there.
And leave Ireena
so
behind.
I can leave them outside and I can come back and help Ireena, and if I think she's lost cause, then I can...
Yeah, make an
else.
intimidation check then if you want to do so.
Oh, yay. Advantage. Is a 16 plus 3, 19.
Okay. You see, you're kind of like, you're more pushing him than anything else, and you're pushing Gertruda, who's just like completely phased out. You step outside, and the rain hits both of your face, and you can see him kind of like trying to struggle and head back. But you start to leave Ireena further and further behind, and you're having to push him more. And by the time you get to the castle doors, he's kind of really struggling against you, but you stop him like, I'll deal with Ireena. He kind of just looks at you in this slightly freaked out manner, and kind of shepherds Gertruda out of the castle, heading towards the large portcullis. But giving you a certain kind of look that says, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay. Has team, other people who aren't Jack, decided what they're going to do? Are you going to leave, or are you going to unlock the door?
I think we should try and pick the lock. Sorry, I seem to be on team leave.
Yaki's team remain.
I don't know. I'm okay. Like if we want to pick the lock, we can pick the lock.
Rose, what do you think?
Strahd is gonna know like immediately.
Probably.
I do kind of want to see the spooky guy. I could always say it was my fault. And maybe then you can get out if Strahd goes all crazy.
I'm just thinking, what if there's another way to get into the tower? Because on the outside, I saw that there was a parapet thing that had a door lower down.
Far above. Sorry, just to be clear, the parapet was far above.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a door further down. You said there was a door, right?
There's a
Further
window
down.
nearer to where you are. That is what you
Right,
saw
okay.
someone moving through.
Yeah. So there is a window. Like, maybe we could get Billy out the window instead of, because then we still haven't broken the rules.
That is true. Well,
Any-
does that count as stealing?
Not only if it's taken like if he gets out by himself, then that's not us stealing, is it?
That is true.
Kind of as you're having this discussion, you just hear like a loud on the door, as if an enthusiastic thumping on the door, as if in support of your plan.
So sorry, Billy. What was that? You saying that you think we should try and get you out the window? Yes.
Yeah, you hear the
once
sound,
yes,
a much
twice
greater
no.
thud, as if something has thrown itself against the door. Just,
That's a yes.
then
Okay.
a much quicker, short, for another yes, as if by a fist.
Just
Okay.
like the name confirmation. Two knocks for yes. Double yes.
Okay. Well,
So out the window it is.
yeah. Now I just got a new spell, but I don't think I can use it yet until I've done the whole writing it all down type thing. So, which I know in my head takes me
2 hours.
2 hours.
And either 100 gold or 50 gold, depending on whether it's your wizard school or not. Oh, yeah, I think it's 100 gold.
All right. How much gold do I have?
You tell me, how much gold do you have?
Oh, I don't know. How did we work that out? Like, how did we come here with any gold?
You came here with all your... Did you come here with equipment?
Well, yeah, I have.
Rather
my
than, like, buying it
inventory
yourself
stuff.
with a pool of
Yeah.
gold? Okay.
How much gold can you reasonably hide in Modesty Fog?
I mean, you can conceal a pouch just about anywhere in kind of like modesty gear, I guess. Yeah, so it'll be if your background says you have any gold.
Well, I don't mean to.
No. What I'm saying is, like, if you're starting class, if you have introductory gear that says, oh, you've got a pouch containing 10 gold or whatever, then that's how
Okay.
much you have.
Right. Well, I have a noble background, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume I'll have some gold. Anyway, we don't have to talk about this now.
You've been promised 100 gold for getting Ireena and Ismark to Vallaki.
Oh.
I forgot
Okay.
we were doing something with them.
Yeah, you were being
Oh,
paid for
them.
that.
I
In which
forgot all
case-
about them. All right.
In which
Okay.
case, get them to Vallaki. You can do your thing, and then we can come back.
And then we can come back. Sure.
Well,
Sure.
Let's go.
Very good.
Unless Strahd is listening, in which case that's not what we're going to do.
I mean, Strahd is clearly listening. Like, Strahd,
Just-
if you can hear us, why don't you come out and stop us?
Yeah.
Just sit and tell us about how people just don't work hard enough these days.
There's a sudden flash of lightning you see that illuminates the corridor, and you just see Strahd just at the end of the corridor, leaning against a wall, just watching you. Says, sorry, what was that?
Have you tried avocado toast though?
Forgive me, I do not eat such food. It is not to my palate.
If he had tried avocado toast, he wouldn't have been able to afford this castle.
Ah, I see.
I didn't buy the castle, that's the thing.
No, did your dad buy it
You
for
just
you?
inherited it.
No, I killed everyone in it.
Can you play the organ that's downstairs?
Some things. If you want to play Take Me Out to the Ball Game, no. If you want something very dramatic, then yes.
Toccata and fugue in D minor, please.
What's
Do you
a
take
ball
requests?
game?
You have not encountered... I was about to say you've not encountered wolves. Then.
Actually, no, I don't understand. What are you...
Sorry.
Do
You're-
you know from the ballad of the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, the organ music that the bad guy sits and plays while?
I don't actually. I was going to say I can play you Song of Storms if that would appease you. Do 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 do.
That is a tune, but
Yes, it's an absolute banger.
Will it make the rain stop? Because we're about to go back out in it. So
Oh. He kind of just looks out the window. It looks like it's clearing up. And you turn around and glance out of the window, and you just instantly see it's almost like a sheet comes down. The last droplets of rain just fall. And the rain ceases.
nice.
Though the thunder and lightning
The
continues.
thunder is still.
it's a little bit
Okay.
further away. It's fine.
I'm just going to start walking towards the way out.
Yep, I'm just gonna join.
See you soon, you hear from down the hallway. He doesn't follow.
Bye.
Bye, knock off Dracula.
Fucking knockoff. Very good. Jack, you're making your way back into the castle. Ireena has just about reached one. There are like two entry halls that you walk through. She just reached the entry of the first one. And it's kind of like leaning against a door. And you see this kind of like black liquid has continued to just kind of ooze out. And is now all the way down her front, staining her armor and kind of seeping into the fabric that she's wearing underneath of the shirt she's wearing under that. What would you like to do?
I don't particularly want to touch it. So I'm gonna do something that may or may not work.
Of
I'm gonna
course.
say- I want to help her out. I don't want to touch it. It's pretty horrible. So
Yes.
I kind of get my lance. I like hook it under her arms.
I will say that a lance is pointed. It's like a spear tip.
I'm not poking her.
I
Just
thought you
making
said-
sure.
I thought you said you'll get your lads, and I was like, who are your lads?
Jack's got his lance outside.
I also heard lads.
Lads on top. No, I get my lance and I sort of like I put my arms around it like that. So I've got one above and one below. But yeah, to like really brace it against myself
Mm-hmm.
and like hook the other end under her arm, so I'm like supporting her on the lance and like trying to like guide her towards the door without actually having to touch her.
Yeah, make an attack roll.
What?
With
I'm
this
not trying to
no.
poke.
Just make an attack roll. See what happens. Do you have disadvantage when you're not on a horse using a lance?
No, only if they're within 5 foot.
Okay, that's good to know.
Because the lance has a 10-foot range, so it's just two-handed, and I'm using two hands. I'm using two arms, better than two hands. So no. So this is a D20 plus my modifier. Cool. That is dirty 20.
30-20. Okay. We will say for the purpose of this that you successfully failed to pierce someone with your lance. You maneuver them like some kind of really unusual arcade machine where, you know, instead of picking up a toy, you're like using a lever to lift an Ireena out of the castle and kind of point her in the general direction. She's kind of like stumbling there and just moving really slowly. It's very much kind of like a drunk walk, and kind of holding onto the lance, which you're having to counterbalance because she keeps almost falling over. And then you have to like pivot and put your weight down to keep her upright. You make it your way to the entrance, the first entrance hall, through about 20 feet of stumbling. At which point, Sorrow, Rose, and Yaki emerge from the exit of the dining room. You all catch up with Jack, and you see him at the far end of the room. And then all of a sudden, there is another flash of lightning outside, and against the opposite wall, the opposite one to the one that you've just exited, you see Strahd just leaning against another stone pillar and says, leaving so soon. Sorry, I was going to say, I just need to remember a very quick name, and my brain has gone totally blank. There we go. Okay, thank you. It says, leaving so soon, all of you. Tatiana, do you not want to stay? And he kind of looks at Ireena. And you see her just kind of like, almost as if she's going to vomit up some more of this black stuff. She kind of like looks in with these really groggy eyes.
Oh, Jack, point Ireena at him so she throws up on him.
It says, Strahd?
I hear that and try to like swing her in the direction.
Okay. Make... Right, are you doing this? How are you doing this?
I'm just like trying to
with
like
force? Are you just like wanging her at Strahd? Are you? What are we doing here? Are you trying to just maneuver her around like a puppet on the end of a
yeah,
railing?
like I basically just like stop and like spin round, and like I'm the center of the compass. She's on the outside of the circle.
Wow, that's a choice. Sure, make an athletics check.
That doesn't sound good.
It was a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh, 25.
25.
Oh no.
Well, you do it with force. So you try and turn her around. However, you see that as you kind of push, she's less keeping her balance and more just being toppled over by a lance as you spin round. And you see her kind of just like try and grab onto the lance as she's falling, and she just falls to the floor, and you kind of like look at her lying on the floor. She's dazed, and she kind of looks up, but looks towards Strahd and says, "Oh, Strahd? Oh, my head. What's going on?" He kind of looks down at her. "Nothing, my dear. These lovely people brought you here to me, and now they are leaving, it seems." He kind of just
This
looks
is
up at you.
fucking
Oh,
weird.
I want to just go and like help her up.
Yeah, I kind of just
continue-
want to be like, you know.
Yeah, keep her moving out away from
Yes.
the castle.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna try and step between Strahd and Vomit Lady, and but
You
in
gonna
a
explain any of this, Strahd?
He kind of
Yeah,
looks
this-
at you in a very innocent, the absolute look of innocence on his face is, "What? I don't know what you mean." You all kind of like manage to group into her and like lift her up and haul her to her feet, and she's not, she's resisting slightly. She just looks a bit confused and very dazed as to what's happened. She looks at you, yeah. Who are you? And just kind of like blinks her eyes very groggily. You see, like there's all kind of like all sorts of gunk and bits in her teeth, and it looks pretty grim. And kind of like as you're gradually walking backwards, you kind of see Strahd take a very slow step forward and says, "It seems the lady wishes to remain here with me. Isn't that right, darling?" "Oh, Strahd, darling, yes. Where am I?" Are you continuing to pull her back, or are you?
Yep, gonna keep walking with her.
And I'm assuming, like, obviously when I wanged her off the lance, like my plan was to like get it parallel with Strahd.
So the lance was pointing at Strahd.
Not pointing at him, but like she would have been pointing at him, so
Yeah, yeah.
perpendicular.
Yeah,
like,
she was faced in
blocking
his
it.
direction. You were closer to the door, and Yaki and Rose and Sorrow, you kind of all came round on the other side.
Yeah.
Strahd is in one corner away from you.
So I'm now assuming my lance is now like making a barricade between Strahd and her. Like I've got my arms like that.
Oh, I
lance
see.
is that way, and so I'm backing up using that as like a barrier.
Okay,
Slightly
remind me.
closer to
A
Strahd.
lance is like 5-10 foot long. How long are we talking?
10 foot.
10 foot. Okay, this is a 15-foot corridor. Like it's quite wide for a corridor, like an entryway, but it's gonna get narrow at some point. You're gonna have to go through a door, just so you know.
Yeah, that's fine. I will shift it before I get through the door, but right now I'm like blocking the corridor and I'm going to be slightly in front of everyone else. So
Very
they're
well.
all backing towards the door and I'm the barrier.
You all start backing up. Not you're hurried, but not more haste, less speed. Put it that way. You're kind of very deliberately backing off, and Strahd is not matching your pace. He's walking a little bit slower, and just kind of walking towards you and saying, "Are you really going to take a woman against her will?" And just kind of like looking each one of you.
That's
in
fucking
deliberate-
rich, mate. I'm sorry, but no, we're not having this conversation, Strahd. Stop being weird.
I don't know what you mean. And he just keeps
He's
walking
being
forward.
weird.
Let's just go. Come on.
I'm just gonna keep walking.
Okay. You keep walking. He's still walking at his very leisurely pace towards you. You're making ground on him. He seems to be not chasing you, but following. So you're going. Are you going to turn and run? Are you just walking?
Well, walking with, like, supporting Ireena, right?
Walking
So
with speed where possible.
as much speed as we can manage.
Okay.
With Ireena,
Okay. Maintaining eye contact.
which I assume is not a great amount of speed.
She's resisting you a little, but she does seem to be entirely devoid of strength at the moment. And you kind of hear her muttering under her breath every now and again. I don't. Oh, and just kind of like all these occasional half phrases keep muttering and spilling out of her. She seems very confused about what's going on.
Well, I'm looking where I'm going, so I'm
Okay.
not looking back at Strahd.
Oh, okay, cool. You're looking forward, right?
I'm looking at her and wondering if this, like, 'cause she's covered in this gloop.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if, like, this rings any bells with me as to what the gloop might be, or
Make an. We'll call this an Arcana check, yeah. Could also do religion if you wanted. But I'm assuming we'll can't.
no, thank you. It is 23.
23. It seems to be it's an Ica of some sort. It does not originate from her. Like, it's not a human substance. It's not like a... She's not blood. It's not bile. It's not arcane in and of itself, but it is something that originates from outside a human body.
Is it some kind of poison?
Does not seem like it, no. It seems like a byproduct of something occurring. Like, you feel like if you were to conduct certain magical practices or something to that effect, or sometimes when a magical effect occurs, there are byproducts. Some of them are like ichor, sometimes it's just weird sploogey stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The kind of weird sploogey stuff that happens when a guy tries to creepily make a woman stay in his castle when she doesn't actually want to, perhaps.
For a 23, no, not that kind of thing. You would at least be familiar with charm effects to like no charm effect of your knowledge or your kind of like your recollected memories does anything along those kind of lines.
That's fine. That's just what I think.
That's fair enough.
I'm not asking for confirmation on that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, I would say with the 23
That's-
Arcana, like
that's
you've
what
not
I
read
think.
anything. Fair enough.
Okay. Well, I still think it because
Yeah, this does feel very magical roofies, doesn't it?
Is it? It doesn't feel like a disease of any kind, does it?
Are you asking? Do you want to do a check for it?
Asking.
You could do a survival or a nature check if you want to use your own instincts, or are you asking the group? Because if you're asking the group, you're backing away from a guy at the moment. If you're just going on your own memories, you can do your check.
Asking the group. Well, did you say a medicine check?
Medicine or survival, your choice.
Do a medicine check whilst also asking the group just to see what they think is going on. That's 11 in total.
Okay. Yeah, could be a poison. Could be other things, but could be a poison.
After hearing Yaki ask the group, and having spent a bit more time with Ireena and seeing it, can I do a survival check and shout my opinion as I'm walking backwards?
Sure, yeah. Your opinion is to whether it's a poison or not.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, this has all happened in a very quick succession. You're all backing up, going, thing. Sorry, I was looking because is it magic? Is it poison? You're all doing this. And this is all kind of taking place in the, like, 1 footstep of Strahd, or 2 footsteps, you know. Like, it's a very short period of time. Go on. What'd you get?
Well,
12. Okay. Like, you think it could be a poison? It doesn't look like any poison you've experienced. Normally, you're not sure. There's an element of doubt, but you're like, it could be a poison. Maybe, I think.
So, I thought that it wasn't a poison,
Yeah.
and Yaki and Jack both think it could be a poison.
Yaki seemed pretty confident that it was poison-esque, and Jack was like, I don't know.
Jack doesn't know. I think it's not. Yaki thinks it is. Is that right?
That is right.
Right. Okay.
good at this.
Shall we just go?
Well,
That's what I'm going to say. Shall we just go? Thanks
we'll-
for having us. It was very nice. Sorry
we'll
about your
deal with this
carpet.
later.
You see, just as you reach the edge of the castle, you head out into the courtyard itself, and he stops just at the door and kind of looks at Ireena and says, "See you soon, darling."
Oh,
She's-
he's such a creep. Oh my
and she-
god.
And she reaches out and says, "Soon," and just kind of like her hand drops away as you drag her further and further off.
Fuck off, creepy old man.
Is he like trying to stick the I don't even know. Like, use Ireena as a vessel for this Tatiana person. Because it's grim. I hate it.
Yes, we won't know.
Is the carriage we came in still around?
The carriage went round to the side. Like it's far to the side of the castle, so you could go and look for it if you want. But at the moment, you're kind of like edging out towards the portcullis, which is directly out of the castle.
I do a secret animal whistle and see if the horses come with the carriage.
Sure, make an animal handling check.
Make a secret animal whistle handling check.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Come on, lucky dice. Not bad. 16.
No,
Oh.
you make your way out of the portcullis. You can see him standing within the kind of the archway of the doors to the castle, just entirely throughout your exit, watching you as you depart. you find Ismark kind of just like very firmly gripping the shoulders of Gertruda. It's like kind of like looks over at you and goes, "Is Strahd coming?" And you kind of turn Ireena around, and she kind of is totally out of it and phased. And you begin to walk down the road away from the castle. You see in front of you that there is a strange green mist that, as you approach it, seems to just dissipate and appear off the road. Disappear off the road. Are you continuing to walk?
At least want to go as far as Ismark and Gertruda.
Oh yeah. You've met up with them. You're all together.
Can we throw something into the mist and see what it does?
In the mist itself. Okay.
Yeah.
What would you like to throw?
I don't know. What's nearby?
Rocks.
Okay.
Okay. You throw a rock in the mist.
I'm going to throw a rock in the mist and see what happens.
You see the air billow out as the rock passes through it, seemingly unharmed.
Uh-huh.
However, just to be clear, the mist has moved away from the road,
Oh.
as if to allow you to pass.
Oh, well, that's nice of it. Let's go then.
Yeah, I mean, Ismark, what's the quickest route to place that I definitely remember the name of? that we could
Balaki.
take
It's
you?
yeah. If we head back to the crossroads where we were, then we go through some gates, and then we have to go right to get to Valaki. Yeah, you go right to get to Valaki, and there's a left turning. I don't know what's down there. So we'll go that way, okay? We could cut across
Yeah.
the land, but it's way more dangerous.
Yeah, I think with the state Ireena's in and Gertrude running around still, presumably,
Mm-hmm.
let's maybe not invite more danger on ourselves if we don't need to.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's starting to turn dark. We would be very wise not to be out after dark. So maybe we should get a move on. And he's just kind of like, stuck his arm under, Ireena's got her arm around his shoulder, and he's got a hand on his waist, and he's just like trying to move her on as hurriedly as she can. And you see that with each passing step, she's kind of regaining a little bit of herself and moving a little bit faster. So you're starting to move a little bit more. Gertruda is just, again, still quite out of it, but is at least pliant to your directions. And you begin heading down the road, at which point we shall take our first break. Cool. Yes, we are going to take... Well, we'll put it this way. We'll be back at dead on 9. We'll give people 7 minutes. Please don't leave. Thank you, everyone.
Planning to.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along so far. Just a reminder, we're raising money for the LGBT Foundation, or LGBT, as Nami would say. Acronyms. Yes, so there is a link going to chat. Thank you very much, Nami. And we will see you all back here in 7-ish minutes. hello everyone. We are back. 'Tis us. Yeah, just as a quick aside, thank you very much for the follow, Dragon Daddy 84. Love it. Yeah, thank you to everyone in chat who's been offering opinions about dabbing and everything else. Love you all. We will continue now, but yes, you are appreciated. So, when last we left off, a great total of 5 minutes ago, the crew had escaped the castle unharmed without breaking any laws. You had received some information. You'd been given a gift, which I don't know if you've told people about yet or not, but yes, you have a gift that was given to Sorrow. Ireena had a bit of a thing, and Gertruda was also a bit weird. And yeah, you left, and you were advised that you'd probably better get somewhere safe for the night because it was about to be dark, and in the land of the vampire, darkness is party hour. So, who is leading the charge as you head down the road? Okay, sounds good. Jack, if you'd like to make me a quick survival check.
Six.
6. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Very well. Would people like to assist Jack at all, or are you all just happy doing your own things?
Yes,
Are we making this a
Hello.
group check, perhaps?
admittedly my survivals, and it's okay. But yes, I would like to assist.
Excellent.
You really don't want my help, Jack. It's fine. I won't tell you what I rolled.
Okay, no, if you rolled, I need to know. If we're doing this as a group check.
Fine.
What'd you get?
Plus, no, yeah, no, yes, 2.
Okay, that's an 18.
So 18, 6, and
That's
2.
20 altogether.
Indeed. Sorry, what did you get?
I didn't.
You didn't. Okay, very good. Ismark will roll, Ireena won't. That's a natural 14 plus 2. Okay, so we have 2 successes, 2 failures,
And one abstention.
and 1 abstention. Yeah.
So I guess the motion doesn't carry. That.
So
I abstained from surviving.
you walk down the road at a reasonable pace, considering you're dragging someone who is not feeling their best and who is also quite drunk.
You suck, Ireena. You're drunk. You're a sloppy drunk dragon.
Yeah.
That's slang, Kirby. It
I
means
don't know.
you're
I know what it
nice.
means. I'm not that old.
Do you though?
If Rob Pearson can say it and understand it, then so can I.
Who's that?
He's
Some boomer person.
You're younger than Rob Pearson.
yeah, that's the point. If he can use it,
Yeah, but when he uses it, everyone thinks he's an old man.
I'm beginning to empathise with him a lot. Anyway, you are dragging a person down a road who is stumbling, walking with you willingly now, and seemingly slightly more back to themselves. However, you are still making slow time, all things considered, especially as you had a coach before. You're walking down this very long road. After about half an hour, you make it to the crossroads where you originally met the coach. You take the turning right towards a large set of gates, very similar to those that you encountered when you first entered Barovia. Oh, good. Sorry, we just need to deal with someone in the chat. Thank you, Nummy.
Damn it, now I can't buy followers.
Scams or bots? There we go.
You don't need to buy followers, Tex. It's fine.
2105 watt. Done. Submit report. So, all of a sudden, a large flying creature sweeps across the sky. However, one of you uses some magic and just explodes it. It just has a last chance to scream out its name, Hedelion, before disappearing into some swamp on the other side of the road and sizzling in a foul-smelling mess. Yes, you've made it to the end of the road. You turn towards the gates of that. As I say, you seem to have walked through before. These huge wrought iron gates that are about 50 feet tall, with the wall that kind of borders what seems to be this land. And as you walk towards them, they swing open. Ismark kind of like pulling towards to get through them. As you cross through, you see that there is a long open space of wildlands. And in front of you, there is, on the horizon, there are some woods that, as best you can tell, are made up of fir trees that seem to line the horizon from end to end. Make a quick perception check, anyone who is able to see in the dark. Or disadvantage if you can't see in the dark.
Dark vision, you can see in the dark, right?
Oh, nice. Perception.
Yes.
Just 20 then. It's a
24.
natural 20 though.
Okay. Is that with disadvantage? Do you have dark vision? Doesn't matter. It's fine.
I have dark vision.
I'm a shadow sorcerer, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Sorry, my bad.
14.
14. Fantastic.
I got 16. I
16.
don't think I have dark vision.
Okay, that's fine.
But that was with disadvantage that I got 16.
Nice. Sorry. Yeah. What did you say you got, Yaki?
24.
24. Okay. You can see this road extends ahead of you for quite some distance, a couple of miles, and then splits at the end, basically where it meets the forest. It heads left and right. To the left, you can see from your particular vantage point, you can see that tucked into the trees, there's a slightly elevated, large structure, very much reminiscent of a windmill, just kind of like turning in the late evening, slowly spinning. And to the right, you can see that the road carries on round until it reaches a turn where it turns into the forest. It looks like you're looking at at least a good 2 hours journey, whichever way you go. Ismark kind of turns to you and goes, Valaki's to the right, but it's about 3 or 4 hours from now. Alternatively, it's the windmill to the left. We could maybe ask if we can stay there for the night. As he says this, you hear the sound of a wolf howl.
I mean, the windmill seems sensible.
Yeah,
I agree.
Let's go in the windmill.
All right.
Yeah, we
Okay.
might be able to have a look from the top.
On the roof.
Right. Okay. And he kind of just starts heading off down the road.
Windmills don't really have much in the way of roofs, typically.
Yes. But
Let's just kind of go.
Yaki, Rose, you can both see that this one does not have a roof. It's a typical windmill.
Don't tell Jack there's not a roof. Let's go on.
It's funny. It'll be funny when he tries then. He falls down.
Gonna end up just hanging off one of the sails.
It's going
Just
round.
going round and round.
Like in the old tale of the gang beasts and the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Can Jack hear this conversation going on behind him?
No, I cast message.
I was gonna say I could be talking in Celestial. Is that the one you understand?
No, I understand abyssal.
Oh.
I'm assuming that's canon that Rose just goes, I could be talking celestial. Do you understand that?
Oh yeah. No, that is what we established, that we can have secret chats in Celestial.
I don't understand celestial, but
Oh, well, we're just talking in common then.
I'll cast. I can cast message.
Yeah.
If we want to laugh about Jack being on a sail, I'd just cast message.
Mix of Celestial and messages.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're all finished with your bits.
Yes, we're all finished with our bits.
Excellent.
Oh, that was normally phrased.
Sorry, my mind is in several places at once. Very good. Yes. So, as you begin walking down the road, you hear another wolf howl, and a second is heard very shortly afterwards. You see kind of Ismark and Ireena just looking nervously at each other and trying to pick up the pace. She walking faster than before.
I think they can tell if you're panicked, so just stay calm.
Yeah. Okay. We should really try and get inside as soon as possible.
Yeah, but we are.
Okay. He kind of just looks at you and says, "Yeah, okay," and just keeps walking down the road. Do you guys want to make a group survival check to see how quickly you can get it to the windmill?
Oh, I missed my dice tray.
Good, good, lovely. Like to hear it.
19.
I'm going to assume Rose is a fail.
16.
Okay.
Well, it's wisdom survival, isn't it?
It is.
Well, in that case, just 3.
Okay.
Nat 20 plus 1, so 21.
21. Excellent. Okay. Okay. As a group, you did succeed. So, you
I told you, Ismark.
spend the next hour and a half walking towards the windmill. As you carry on, every now and again you'll hear a wolf howl, and there's always a answering wolf howl. As you draw close, you see that the windmill lies up ahead of up atop a hill, and there is a short pathway up there. Perched.
Are we moving quickly up the hill?
Yeah.
Are we at the point of running
No.
up the hill?
Oh. Disadvantage on your next roll. I'm kidding.
How dare you? That's such a good reference.
I am joking. No. You get within kind of like 30 or 40 feet of the windmill, and you kind of see atop the door mantle. There's a little crow perched.
Oh, I
Kind
love
of just
crows.
looks at you, goes,
Hello. Hi.
Real.
and with that, it just flies off.
Hi.
Hi.
Is there like a door knocker thing?
No, there is. So before you see this very ramshackle old windmill, it's kind of a wonder how any of the blades are still turning, given that most of them are in various states of disrepair. There's only one blade that is fully covered and should actually be functioning. As you start walking towards the door, you kind of hear. It's the first time you've heard 3 wolf howls together. You hear them much closer than they have been up until now. You pick up your pace, kind of knock on the door. This very, as I say, ramshackle old door that's pretty much almost off its hinges, but you can see a light beneath the door frame, and you hear about, coming from within, and then kind of like this door creaks open, And this very wizened old woman looks out and goes, "Who is it? Don't want to rob an old woman, do you?" Kind of like
No.
just
Just
starts
hoping we'd be
peering
able
out at you
to-
very suspiciously.
We're just hoping we'll be able to crash here overnight.
Crash here? Not running a bloody hotel.
We seek
Well-
refuge, ma'am. It's a dangerous road out here.
Well, I suppose, maybe. If you're willing to buy something.
Oh, what do you sell?
I sell a number of things, but come, it is dark. Come in. She kind of holds the door open, just shuffles back. You see she's got this massive hunch on her back, and she just kind of like shuffles everywhere. She's got a little walking stick to the side. Come in. Kind of gestures very swiftly with this walking stick.
Thank you.
Right, and kind of like gestures you all in, ushers you all in, shuts the door, and just kind of like puts down the most pathetic looking little latch across the door that you've ever seen. Just to kind of gestures you all. You find yourselves within what is clearly a kitchen. There is a large oven off to the side. There are a number of just kind of like cases containing crockery and things that are clearly like used for kitchenware, that kind of stuff. You can see there's this like large table that's basically a barrel with a big sheet of wood over the top of it. But it's a massive barrel with this sheet. Have a seat, and kind of like gestures at these like 4 chairs that are available. She kind of stands there. Yes. And she kind of looks at you. You'll be wanting tea then, and just bustles over to a kettle and starts filling it with water from a bucket and putting it onto the stove. You see Ismark kind of like settling Ireena into one of the chairs. What do the rest of you do?
I walk up to her. She's kind of like, "Ma'am, I notice your lock isn't very secure."
Kind of like looks at him. What of it? Is that a threat? She kind of like whacks you in the shin with the cane.
Not a threat, my lady. I will help you. Do you have some spare wood?
I've probably got some somewhere.
If I can fashion 2 brackets, I have my staff, which is surplus to requirement, and it can be a nice bar across your door.
Bar us in, will you? Probably murder us in our beds. And just whacks you again.
It's a thank you for your hospitality.
My hospitality isn't free, you know. And she kind of like
Hence why I'm making you a lock, my lady.
kind of gives you the biggest stink eye you've ever seen. And it bumbles off into one of the cupboards, and you hear it like go into like a store cupboard that's built into the side. And she starts rumbling around in it and just throwing things over her shoulder. You know, you see a pan go flying and things. Wood, is it? He wants bloody wood. And it's just muttering as if you can't hear her at all, but muttering very loudly. Comes up with these two semi-splintered, you can see one of them's gonna split, and there's like these 2 planks. She kind of bumbles over to them with you. Here you go. Make yourself useful. Tea will be ready in a minute. That's good. Starts thinking. So, what are the rest of you doing?
Just want to sort of just have a little bit of a look around, see if there's any other like entrances.
There's only the one entrance. You're on the ground floor. Just to describe very quickly, so there's a large area in front of you. There's this kind of like large, as I say, table that's clearly been constructed from a barrel and a plank of wood. All of the kitchen bits have been fitted around. You can see there's this large oven. It's currently on, that's not particularly unusual. Ovens are often kept on for a long period of time to heat the home and cook things. So you think you're aware of that. However, you can smell this kind of delicious aroma from the oven. It does seem like she's cooking something at the moment. And across the rest of the kitchen, there's kind of various bits and pieces strewn, like she's not cleaned up in a little while. However, you can see that there's this. It looks like she's preparing to load some stuff. And as you cast your eye around the rest of the room, you can see there's this little cart, like a little hand cart, parked in the corner, that says "Pies for sale." She shuffles over and goes, brings you all a cup of tea, and puts one down in front of each of you. Well, look like I've had a bloody rough night. Prods Ireena with the stuff. What's wrong with you? Kind of like,
She's a messy drunk.
oh, bloody teenagers. My day wouldn't do things like that. It just kind of like it goes off on a very small tirade about things in her day, and avocados. Anyway, and she kind of looks around. So, now, the young man over there is very kindly fixing our door, apparently. You wish to stay the night, is that it? Pulls around.
Please?
Very well. You need any food, or are you just gonna kip on the floor? Drink your tea before it gets cold.
That's a fair question. Did we ate as Strahd's, right?
You did go for dinner, so you're not hungry
So-
at the moment.
Yeah.
And there was
good,
food.
Good for food. No, just need a place to crash.
All right. Well, very well. It's not very often that I have people coming to my home. I normally go to them. But, yes, so be it. Do you need any wares while you're here? And she kind of like just hustles slightly, just looks like she gets a game face on. She's like, you looking for anything? Need any? Got any wares? I have wares. Do you want wares? What wares do you need?
What wares do
She
you
gets-
have?
Well, I normally barter in a couple of things. It depends what you need. Mostly I sell pies, but I also have trinkets and odds and ends for sale. What do you need?
What's in the pies?
It's just a meat pie.
Is it human meat? You have to tell us if it is.
It's not human meat.
Okay.
Is it horse meat?
It's not horse meat. It's sheep.
Lamb or mutton?
It's whatever I find.
Surely you have a regular supplier.
No. No, I just hunt the wild sheep. They're very hardy around here. We don't order a specific thing. It's not like we eat the food that we find. It's not exactly a...
Do you get much business out here?
No, I just said. That's why I normally go to other people's towns. I go to Valaki and I go to Barovia.
How do you keep your meat fresh on the journey?
It's got lots of spices in it.
You know the area quite well then, since you travel to sell
Yes,
your
and she
pies.
kind of like very proudly like puts her hand on her stomach. Yes, been here since I was a girl. Looks back at you.
I heard that there was that there was a cemetery on top of a hill. Do you know of that, or where it is?
Make a persuasion check.
17.
17. Like a cemetery, like a. I mean, there's a place in Kresk, which is the Abbey. It's got a cemetery in it. It's on a hill. Is that what you mean?
I mean like a hill where there are graves on the hill.
Graves on a hill. Graves on a hill. Graves on a hill.
And a tree. Big tree.
Big tree. Well, I'm kind of like.
If you, if you go through the Lackey, and then instead of going to Kresk, you go the opposite direction on the road, then there's a big hill up there, and I think there are some graves. I don't know. I don't normally go that way. There's no one to sell to. But there's a vineyard and a winery, if that's something you're interested in.
Okay. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Kind of like gives you a bit of a one time and goes,
You look like a magic-y sort.
just kind of like taps this cane against her foot and goes,
Is that a fair assessment? One of them wizards that lives in the tower and all that stuff?
I know some magic.
Perhaps I could interest you in some wares. Got gold, have you?
kind of gives you like a proper stink eye of like, does she have gold on her person?
You have wares if I have coin. Is that what you're saying?
Very much so.
Okay.
Some call it junk.
I have some. Let's see what you got.
Just kind of it goes over and just like says to her, "Turn around, please." And just kind of like looks over at all of you and like to see that you're all averting your gaze.
I
Just
don't like
avert your
this.
eyes.
What's she gonna show? What? You
She's
okay,
over
you're
it
gonna be
and she
keeping
said-
your clothes on. You have to tell us if you're not.
You bloody magic users.
I'm hammering the door anyway, or hammering brackets to the door.
I see. Very good. Is everyone else averting their eyes?
I
Yeah,
don't.
chill.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'm very
No, me neither.
confused.
So you hear the sound of rummaging, and kind of like the sound of a cupboard opening, and then you hear some heavy breathing as something's heaved and moved, and then you hear a couple of other sounds. You hear the heaving and moving and things back, and then you can hear the sound of the cupboard being closed again. You turn, you kind of like, you go, okay, now, and you look back, and she's there with very much out of breath, holding 3 little glass vials that look like potion bottles.
Right. Sorry, that would. Can't have you seeing where my hidey hole is.
Kind of drops over. She goes, looks at her notes, and says,
Right. Got this one.
and you can see that they're all labelled. One of them is labelled with youth. She goes,
This is a potion. Will make you young. Or younger than you are now.
puts that one on the table.
This one is called laughter. And this one is called mother's milk. Now these two are poisons. You should not drink them yourself.
Say again, Jack.
Which two are poison?
The second two, mother's milk and laughter.
Cool.
Any takers?
Are you gonna specifically tell us what they do, or will I have heard of any of these, or?
Yeah, I was gonna say make a quick arcana check if you would like to, but she's like,
Yes.
yeah, see if you've heard of either of these.
I don't know if I'm supposed to remember this, but I have proficiency with the poisons kit, so I assume
Yeah,
that I would know
you
things
you
about
remember
poison.
your skills. Like you kind of innately have a feeling for things.
Oh dear,
Okay,
I don't innately have a feeling with these things.
that's fine. You do get the sense that they are poisons just looking at the consistency and the kind of like the different levels of silt in them, and you kind of go, looks a bit dodgy, sure, but you don't.
But I've no idea like how fast acting it is, or exactly what it.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you have a sense, but not a whole thing. She's like,
I'm
go on.
sorry. I was going to say I'm proficient with a herbalism kit, but
Okay.
I don't know whether that would kind of be useful.
Kind of. You'd have to roll higher, but go for it if you want to.
What? Hang on. What am I? What is it? I'm rolling.
Wisdom plus your proficiency.
Oh, okay. 14.
14. Okay. You're not overly sure. You're pretty sure that one of them gives you some kind of disease. It's a bit fuzzy. You just know it's got a color, and it's like you in your mind you flash back to just a fragment of a memory of just going like, don't eat those berries. It's very much like a herbalism. If you want to know how to heal people, you know what not to give them, and you just know not to give people these berries because it does bad things. Sorry, I keep having to scroll between two things. Yes, so the laughter one will basically make someone very unwell, but also kind of put them out of it a little bit. And she's like,
Yes, this'll give someone cackle fever. It's a nasty little malady.
pops it down on the table.
And this one is mother's milk.
And
Very effective poison. Very effective.
How much are you asking for them?
well,
I'd normally say 150 apiece. But you don't look like you've got much on you.
and she kind of like gives you a little prod in your general direction.
No offence. Call it 100 apiece. The door's for here, sleeping here overnight, isn't it, love?
Yeah, it was worth a shot.
Hey, now can't get one over on me, you know.
You're worldly wise, aren't you?
That I am, love. You've been around as long as I have. You've been worldly wise.
She says in a very strange voice.
I'm gonna have a think about whether I want to buy the poison. But since you're a woman of the world, I'm just wondering if I've got a thing here that I want to know if you recognize it. And I have the necklace that I'm going to do this with my back to Ismark and Ireena. I have the necklace that I
Yeah, that you know.
that I looted off their dead
father,
when
yeah.
when I pried the nails out of his sealed coffin.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you recognize this symbol?
Kind of like leans in.
Reaches up. She's about 2/3 of your height.
Reaches up.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of like.
Oh. Yes, that's it's a necklace of the Morning Lord, the Dawn Martyr.
And what does that mean? I'm not from around here, so I don't know that.
It's a religious symbol.
Okay.
It's like
Kind of like looks around. Is anyone wearing an obvious holy symbol?
I'll have one somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why I'm asking if you've got it out or not.
Technically, I've got prayer beads, but I don't know how to use them.
That's fine. He kind of like looks around and goes, it kind of like indicates to the Yaki and Rose.
like those. It's a symbol of devotion.
Is it for a specific deity?
Yes, it's for the Dawn Martyr or the Morning
Dawn-
Lord.
Okay, the Morning Lord, right. And is that who? I don't know about the religion here. Is there more than one god here? I don't know how it works. Come on, woman, you got to give me something.
She kind of like gives you a little glare, but also
Right. So you don't have much religion here. You've got a bit of the old hedge magic-y stuff and like trying to do, cast spells and things and bathing naked in the moonlight and all that stuff, which we do, occasionally. It's good for the skin. But the only real major religion is that of the Dawn Martyr. I don't know much about it myself. I'm not a follower, but it's kind of. I'll be honest, I don't think it exists. But it's just, what with the old guy in the castle, he's you understand why son might be a welcome thought.
That Abbey you mentioned,
Yes.
are they part of the Dawn Master?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So I suppose if we want to find any details about them, we could always go and have a chat with them.
Yeah. It's over in Kresk. Though there's also an abbey in Velaki as well. I can't remember what it's called though. I know one of them's St. Markovia's abbey. Oh, that's it. You've got St. Markovia in Kresk, and you've got St. Andrew's in Velaki. Right. So, well, I guess you'll be wanting to get some sleep then.
Yeah.
Gonna stay up and keep watch for a bit.
All right, you do that.
Have
Yeah.
you got a high vantage point?
No, I don't. It's my bedroom, you filthy little bastard.
Kind of like just gives you a very much an abashed and how dare you look.
Well, ma'am, what is covering the top of your bedroom?
A roof.
Is there
He
access
kind of like
to
looks
your
at the rest of you.
roof?
Is he did he use intelligence as a dump stat?
What's the dump stat?
What's the stat?
Never mind. Not from around here. It's all right.
My lady, you've just admitted you have a roof.
Jack,
Yes.
it's okay. You can keep watch from the ground floor.
Am I able to get to the roof?
If you went outside, but I'd rather you didn't, if that's all the same to me. You, me, whatever, whoever.
But how if I go outside, how do I get to the roof from
Jack-
outside?
You don't. It's not designed. It's a windmill.
But it has a roof.
Jack, don't. It's fine. Don't.
You see her
And a
just like
roof-
kind of like put her head to her cane and
Lord's
And a roof gives me a 360 view of the area to ensure that we are safe from
It's
them.
fine. We're safe, Jack.
I'm
you
an
just,
old woman.
You just made
and
a
I've
thing.
lived here for my entire life. Does it
Jack-
look like we have any trouble?
And Jack, you just made a thing to secure the door, which is the only entrance point. So
Okay. I put a chair to face the door.
okay, you're gonna watch the door. Very good.
Okay, fine. You all get comfy,
And she kind of like just starts finishing up the night. She heads over to the oven, pulls out the latest batch of pies, sticks them on the top, and starts kind of like folding them up into putting them onto cooling racks, and preparing them for market.
right. Yeah. Wrap these up, and then I'm going to bed. Rest of you, I don't want to hear a peep. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
right.
Kind of just hobbling up off the stairs. You hear the sounds of kind of this elderly woman just ascending and kind of like gradually getting further away, and the muttering decreases in volume and then eventually abates entirely. And yes, you are left alone in the darkened kitchen, the only glow that of the oven that is kind of like died down to embers now and just keeping the house warm overnight. What would you like to do?
I was going to take a seat and do my meditation thing.
Very good.
I pulled a chair round to face the door,
Mhm.
and have taken my longbow off my back and I'm leaning it. So I've got it's in my left hand, so I'm sort of holding it ready that I can pull an arrow and knock it, and leaning it against the chair, like like on a chair, with your bow like ready, just like leaning against it, but holding it where you need to hold it.
Yeah, gotcha. Holding the handle.
How is Gertruda? Where are they?
Gertruda has just kind of been fairly out of it for most of this journey, and she's just basically been stood in the corner. If she's like reverse Blair Witch in that she stood in the corner but facing outwards.
Can I like sort of take her arm and like lead her towards where the embers of the fire are and just sort of like
Yeah,
try and keep her chill and
she's very
make her
pliant.
try
She
and
just kind of
sleep?
wanders over. Okay, yes, thank you.
You know, like a sister, like an older sister kind of.
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, she's kind of seems very great. She kind of like sits down. This doesn't look like the castle. We're
We're
going to
not
see
in-
Strahd at some point.
Well, just try and go to sleep. I feel like you could do with some sleep.
But I don't like sleeping at night.
It's safer that way.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm struggling to read my dice. Right, hold on. There we go. Oh. 22.
Okay. She kind of like just looks at you, and you see the kind of like the glazed look come over her eyes all over her. Okay, and just lies down where she is on kind of the floor next to the to the dying embers in the oven and the stove. Not the stove, the oven. Just kind of like lies down, and you see her very quickly drift off.
I would just remembered I want to do one quick thing before I
Mhm.
enter meditative state.
Yeah, no worries.
And that's do just a cheeky eyes of the grave to see if anyone in the room I'm in is undead.
Okay. Yeah, that just happens, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, you look around. No one seems to be undead.
Cool. Well, comforted by that knowledge, I'm gonna drop into meditative state for 4 hours.
Righty-ho. Sorry.
I would like to have a quick scan around the room to see if there's any books of any kind. Has she got any books?
Yeah, you can easily look around. Assuming you're not rooting off into cupboards and going through her stuff, like just
I'm
looking
just
around.
doing a quick
Yeah.
scan.
You can see that above the stove there are a couple of dusty books, but upon inspection they just seem to be like cooking basics and recipes and things like that. All seem to be handwritten and kind of like it looks like she's collected recipes over her life.
Okay. Then in that case, I would also like to cast Detect Magic.
Okay, just check the details on that. That just lets you see. Hang on.
I can sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of me.
Yeah.
I can see a faint aura around any visible creature or object that bears magic and learn its school of magic, if any.
Okay.
It can penetrate most barriers.
Yeah, that's what I'm just looking to see if specifics are.
It's blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's what I needed. Okay. So, 30 feet. Right. So you can't see the potions because she's taken those with her. It seems she did not want to leave them downstairs.
How tall is this room, though?
Well, it's a windmill, so it's quite tall. You've got like about 15 feet in this room alone.
Okay.
Like it's
But
a
then
very
her bedroom is presumably above this, is it?
no. You haven't gone upstairs to look.
Where's her bedroom?
You don't know. You haven't gone upstairs.
Okay, well, where did she go?
She went upstairs. It's a very tall building. Like, to put it into context, like a windmill is about 5 stories tall. in our world terms of like just basic floors.
All right, fine. Well, I'll do a quick scan around in here, and then I'll
Okay.
go up the stairs a bit. It lasts
And-
10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you have a look round. You see that the pastries that are cooling on the side give off an aura of magic. I'll tell you what it is in a minute.
Human meat magic, by any chance?
That's not that's not a school of magic.
Maybe not where you went to school.
Can Jack make an observation based on the height of the building and where the bedroom is when he was asking about vantage points and the old lady saying that her bedroom was the vantage point, which puts her bedroom at the very top of the windmill.
Sorry, you got really smart there, and I got confused for a second. What did you say?
So Jack obviously made a point about finding a vantage point, and she mentioned that it was her bedroom.
Yeah.
So can Jack make a comment to the rest of the group that he is aware that her bedroom is at the very top of the windmill?
I mean, you can make that comment if you want to, if that's the assumption that you and Jack have drawn. It's up to you.
That's what he's going to do.
Cool. Jack says that. There we go. Okay. Oh god, sorry, I've got to look up another thing. Yes, so there is the pastries give off a scent of divination magic.
Interesting.
Indeed. And
Okay.
the barrel in the center of the room that is making up the underside of the table gives off the scent of conjuration magic. Sorry, just making sure I've got that right.
Okay. That is very, very interesting. Can I...
Oh, no, sorry, that should be divination as well. Apologies.
Okay. They're both divination. Can I do a little, like, start moving up the steps
Yeah, okay, you want to move upstairs? Sure.
and just see if I get any more pings on the
Very
magic
good.
detector?
Very good. Yes, you head upstairs to the first floor. And this is kind of like, seems to be the workhouse area of the windmill. You see that there is the windmill and the grindstone kind of like going around repeatedly. Yeah, at the moment it seems to be just grinding flour. You can't get any more... Yeah, you don't get any more pings from where you are. Sorry, I'm just making sure I've got it. Yeah, you don't get any more pings from where you are. Yeah, you've only gone up like one flight of steps. The steps do seem to continue up to the next layer.
Mm-hmm.
Should you wish to continue up.
I might maybe go up a few of the steps and see if there's any
Okay.
quietly.
Uh-huh. Make a stealth check.
Okay. $15.
15. Okay. Why do I... Sorry, I've got to look something up. No, wrong one. Sorry. go. Du-du-du-du-du. As you do, you start moving across the floor of the windmill itself. You've kind of like walked up some stone steps. It's been really easy to be quiet across those. But as you start stepping across kind of the workhouse area of the windmill, it's all wooden floors, and as soon as you step on it, it's just this really loud creak of wood as you just step on a squeaky floorboard, and you kind of hear there and ask,
Ah, bloody hell. What? Who's mucking around down there? Go
back to bed, and you kind of like see her start shuffling down from the steps above.
Said, stay downstairs.
Just gives you a little meanie eye.
Okay. I go back downstairs.
She watches you leave. Kind of like you eventually hear her the creaks off as she creaks off herself.
I want to go open the oven. What's in the oven?
The oven's empty. You saw her empty
you
the
said
oven.
something was still cooking. Oh, she.
No.
emptied
The
oven.
embers are still in, even though the oven is. The embers remain on. Like it's just a way of heating the house.
It was just pies in the oven, was it?
Yeah, she took the pies out, put them on the side, and you saw them.
Seeing pies.
Seeing pies, indeed. You saw the seeing pies.
Okay. All right, fine. I'll go to sleep now.
So, the other question is, do you want to go and try and sneak around later on?
No.
Because she's literally only just gone up to bed, is the only thought. Okay, that's fine. Yes, you currently got no pings. Yes, you head to bed. Silly question. Does any of you even, have something that you might want to wish for? Don't need to say what it is, just raise your hand if you do. That your characters might want to wish for, obviously. Okay.
I was gonna say yes, maybe, but it depends on memories.
So you've got the memories that you've got from so far. So obviously you know about your thing that's by the tree. Being as vague as possible.
Yeah.
So you know about that, but you don't have many other memories. Okay.
Then he does.
Cool. Yaki, anything from you? Very well.
Oh.
In which case, you have a very sound and pleasant trance. The rest of you fall asleep eventually. Jack, how long are you trying to stay up for?
So, after about 4 hours, with no logical sense of hours on a clock, because they don't exist, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there is no clock.
I try to prod someone to take over my watch.
Well, it'd be reasonable to assume by now that you would know that I only sleep 4 hours.
Okay,
So
there we go.
if that's what you're looking for, you're probably
Yep.
just waiting for me to.
But text what about in the game?
That's exactly what Jack realizes. Is he realizes Jackie only sleeps for meditates and sleeps for 4 hours. So after 4 hours, when Yaki comes around from the meditation, he makes a comment to Yaki and goes, "You know, just keep an eye on the door,"
Yeah, sure.
and then just falls asleep in the chair.
Absolutely fine. Yaki, you have a very restful night, and you sit watching a door until the others come to consciousness or something else more interesting happens. The rest of you, as you fall into sleeplessness? Wow. As you fall into sleep, you hear the voice in your dreams of the old woman
wonder what you want. What could you want? What could you want? I could offer you things, you know. You've got a wish. What wish do you have? Perhaps I could grant it. Tell me your wish, and I shall grant it for you for a price.
Will if we go round? So if we start with Sorrow, all right. If we'll start with Rose.
What's the price?
What's the wish? She kind of like her voice turns from being kind of like a harsh, grumpy grandmother that it's been the whole time to being more of a soothing, grandmotherly that likes you feel. She's like,
Tell Granny, what's your wish?
I don't want to not know what the price is.
Oh, don't worry, I'll tell you. Before,
Okay.
tell me what your wish is, my dear.
I want to feel less lonely.
Ooh. Interesting. I can certainly help with that. All right. I will take, in exchange for your never needing to feel lonely again, the cost would be the memory of someone you loved.
and you can. I was going to say you can take some time to think about that. We'll nip round to Jack and we'll come back to you in a bit. Rose. You hear the same voice in your dream, Jack, as you drift into unconsciousness. It says,
And what is your wish, my strong young man? Tell Granny your wish.
I saw a vision. A vision of a horse. Beautiful. A regal horse with glowing red eyes.
Fine beast indeed.
And I saw him next to a tree.
Yes, yes.
I want to find that tree and find this beast.
I see. Nothing so easy. Nothing so easy. So, the price for you is you will never again see the colour red. Simple trades, is it not?
It is. There was a vision of this horse with eyes that were red.
Yes.
Would me not seeing the color affect the personality?
of the horse?
Of either of us?
I can't answer that, he said in his most cryptic way. I don't know.
That is the price of my assistance in finding your lost steed. Think about it, and I'll come back to you.
Sorrow,
In your dream, you hear the same voice. Tell me, my dear, what is your wish? Tell Granny.
I want to remember who I am and what I can do.
I see. Unfortunately, that is something I cannot help with just yet. The condition that afflicts you. The enchantment is more powerful than mine. I could break it, but that would also break you. And that goes against the code of wish granting. Would that I could.
Not more like guidelines.
Unbidden, Yaki's voice appears in your dream.
Sod off you, I gave you your chance, you had a trance.
She says, returning to sorrow.
So, I fear that I cannot assist you. Is there nothing else? Nothing you want?
There's plenty of things I want.
Tell Granny, perhaps we can help.
Money, power.
Is that all?
For starters.
Hmm.
Can you do either of those, or are they against the code?
No, I can do both of those. It's just a little
Does that
trick.
count as one, or is it?
Money can buy power, power can get money. It's much of a muchness.
That's a good point.
Is that all you want?
No.
Tell me your wish. The one that I can grant, and I shall grant it.
I don't know which ones you can grant. The thing I asked for, you said you can't do, so, you know.
Unfortunately, that is one of the few things I can't do. Most of them I can.
All right. In that case, if I say I wish for power, then what can you give me?
I can grant you power. Again, at a cost.
Yeah, but what power?
I can help return you to yourself with greater speed.
Okay.
But the cost is that you would owe me a favor.
It's one of those. Right.
Yes.
I see.
And you, as a magic practitioner, would very much know that a favour is never quite as simple as it sounds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It would, yes. Just as Moogle states, very warlocky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Think on it. You have until the morning.
All right then.
Rose, have you decided? Okay, what is your decision?
I can't, because I already don't remember anything. And
Very good. Jack, have you decided?
Or to have some questions, if I do.
You have some questions. Okay.
Well, I may not be able to see the color red.
Yes.
My steed, the personality would be the same.
Yeah, the yes.
Okay. And if something in life was red,
Uh-huh.
for example, blood, would it be invisible or would it be manifested as another color?
Are you asking me as Jack, or are you asking me as Gaijin? Are you asking the DM, or are you asking Morgan, the Granny?
Both.
Okay, both. As a DM, you don't know. The Granny says, I suppose that would depend on the circumstance. I can't...
So, if an animal or a person or anyone was to be cut and eye started to bleed, I would see the gash. And with the blood run invisible, or would the blood run a different colour?
That is a very good question.
If you can grant me this wish, surely you know the answer.
I do. But, unfortunately, that's not part of the bargain. It's all part of the fun. You can choose. You can say no.
Or you tell me the answer. And make your life different.
So you went very slightly inaudible at the end of that, but I'm going to assume that was a threat. Because
That
it
was.
sounded like a threat. Yeah, make an intimidation check with disadvantage. So if you get advantage, it'd be a straight roll.
Yeah, straight roll. That is a 15.
15. You feel this hang on, just gonna double check something. You feel this pressure on your consciousness. It's like being, if you imagine being pushed on underwater to the point where you started to feel the pressure impact on your body, and it's unpleasant, and then it feels mildly painful, like someone gripping your arm slightly too hard, not to the point of actually hurting you, but to the point where they're just making a statement. She goes,
Now, dearie, you wouldn't want to threaten old Granny, would you?
Wouldn't.
So, yes or no, what will it be?
say that one more time.
I might be in pain.
One more time.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's my mic being a pain. Got weirdly 2 USB settings. Animals of my life.
Indeed.
I will accept.
Wonderful, darling.
And you feel this almost like a shimmering sensation, like someone has poured Pop Rocks and Coke over your head, and you just feel this kind of like fizzing, glittering sensation running through your body.
It has been granted.
Sorrow. What is your
Hello.
decision?
My decision is yes, give me the power. Thank you very much.
Very good. Okay. You have, for the time being, been granted a temporary level in Warlock for narrative purposes. We'll come back to this later. I'll talk to you more about it later. But yeah, and that'll be from the point you wake up. Should you wish to do that now, or should you wish to do that after the game? That's fine. But yes. Very good. In which case, you all come to consciousness in the morning. The sun shines from underneath the crack in the door. The storm and thunder continues to rumble overhead, as it seems to do perpetually in Barovia. And you hear Granny just bustling her way downstairs.
Oh. Bloody hell, didn't sleep a bloody wink last night. I don't know about you.
She kind of like just starts bundling things up.
Right.
Tea then, I suppose, and she just puts the kettle on again. That's
You'll need to bugger off because I'm going out on sellings today.
So she starts loading stuff up into the cart.
Do you How much do you sell your pastries for?
I'll need to look it up.
I feel like it's a gold piece, but I can't remember.
And also, what is the deal with your pastries?
My pastries are delicious things. They give you many lovely things like visions of the future and stuff like that. It's they give people a wonderful release from this world. It's drudgery.
They're visions of the future, so they're not just like fantasies, they're actual visions.
She gives you a sly smile.
Of course, my dear. Otherwise, they wouldn't be worth the gold, would they?
She says,
Well,
having
yeah,
looked up the price.
But not everybody sells stuff that actually works because it would be worth the gold, do they?
She just like pulled her, straightens her garments. Says,
I don't know what you mean. Anyway, you can buy some pastries, or you can get out. That's fine. Well, what's it to be? Do you want some pastries?
Yes, please.
How many pastries?
I would definitely like to buy at least one pastry.
Right.
I'll take one as well. I mean, I don't know about anyone else. I slept really normally last night. No interesting visions or anything like that. So should get myself a pastry.
Yes, me too.
I cannot buy a pastry because I don't think Rose really has any money.
Would you like a pastry, Rose?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, 2 pastries, 3 pastries. Yaki, you wanted one as well. Yaki, you didn't tell me your name.
Please.
Young man.
I'm
Man.
Yaki.
Hi, Yaki. Nice to meet you. I'm
I'm
Granny.
an elf.
I noticed.
kind of like gives you a look.
Oh, okay. You like elves, or are you looking for elves? You just happen to be an elf.
Oh, no, I am an elf.
I'm aware. There's a colony of elves. Are you looking for the elves, or are you just happen to? You look slightly like them. That's all.
Oh. I've not met them yet. Where are they based?
They're the other side of Valaki, kind of between there and Kresk. It's by asking the town
Okay.
for directions. You might find them. Anyway,
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Thanks. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Thanks for the tip.
no problem. I skipped my mind before because you've got very white hair and it obscures my vision. Right. Okay. 3 pastries. Kind of hands them all out to you. Takes the goal off you. Right. Okay. Off we pop, and kind of like shepherds you out of the door. Ireena, Ismark, and Gertruda all kind of like leading out. You see that Gertruda has a much kind of like clearer look to her face today. She's kind of seems confused, but not confused in the same way that she was before. There we go. So, you all find yourselves outside the windmill. What would you like to do, if anything?
Anyone want to do anything other than start heading to Valaki?
No. Vlaki was where we were taking Ireena and Ismark to,
Yeah.
Yep.
to get the cash, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. As you step outside, Jack. Yes. Go on. Sorry. Go on.
Sorry. I was just going to come to that about the stepping outside is I'm not sure this is going to work
Mm-hmm.
with what you're going to say because you had something specific about Jack, so I'm going to let you finish.
I
about Jack.
was just about to say, Jack, as you emerge into the sunlight, you get this sense, well, I say sunlight, into the grey, overcast daylight of Barovia that technically is daylight, but also technically is very grey. in the overcast daylight of Barovia, you step outside, and as soon as you do, you have this instant sensation of just like knowing exactly which direction you need to go in. You step outside, and just instantly, your brain just kind of almost has a compass point that just points off into the forest behind you, behind the windmill itself. And you know with a certainty that that is where your steed is. One thing you would also notice as you step outside is that everything around you is a lot less bright. It's like the trees themselves have almost become darker and greyer, and as if like some brightness has been sapped out of the world. Is there anything you want to follow up with?
See, now I'm torn. Do I have any indication of how far away the steed is?
Yes, you would. However, I can't tell you exactly without looking at a map. You would have it's weird. Your brain isn't translating it into like hours or miles or anything to that effect. But you do have like a sense of how far it is, and kind of you will become more accustomed to that as you move around and get used to moving around not being by your horse. He said, frantically searching for the map. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would need to do some counting, but it's a substantial distance away.
So that's fine. Because, yes, Jack in himself is homing in on his steed.
Okay.
But Jack being Jack, his duty has always been to the greater good. And always will be. So he acknowledges the direction of his steed. And he tells the rest of the group about the vision and the wish he had, or has, not had, has to reunite with his steed. But right now he has made a promise to Gertruda and Ismark and Ireena, which he's never quite sure of the name, that he wants to save all of them, and make sure they're safe. So he tells the group about his wish and his direction that he wants to travel. But before that, he wants to make sure Gertruda, Ireena, and Ismark are safe.
True.
If we look on the map, like, will Jack know on the map where the steed is?
Certainly try.
Okay, well, we have a map, don't we?
We do.
Who has the map? That's a me question.
Oh, okay. One of you has the map.
Like, who's got the map? Who's got the map?
Who wants to
don't know
take
who's got the
responsibility for the map going forward? Let's go with that. Cool. Jack's got the map.
Okay.
I feel like Jack is inherently responsible and logical.
Yes, I feel that too. Would you care to turn your attention to the stream where I'll put it on screen? That's right.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone can still hear us. Anyway, that is the map.
So can Jack see on the Jack? Can you see on this map where the steed is?
Am I?
Tell me, what would you like to try, Jack?
So we are at the windmill,
Very good.
which is, I'm assuming this is me describing to figure out where we are.
Yes,
Relatively central, but slightly north.
indeed.
With a long winding road that leads towards Valaki.
Correct.
So Valaki is north from the windmill. The road leads north. It winds east and then west towards Valaki.
Yes.
So as you said, the steed is in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that is south and then east
Indeed.
towards the gate and the Castle Ravencroft.
Oh, hang on.
Ravenloft.
Sorry, did you say east?
Yeah.
Apologies. No, wrong. Exactly wrong.
So actually, the way, because I remember from the original stream.
Yeah.
When you first mentioned this in my dream, I'm assuming these are all linked.
Mm-hmm.
The steed is actually off to the west.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Is it that
Like,
forest that's just
point on
south
the
of
map.
Valaki?
that is maybe not that forest. I think it's further west than that, if I remember correctly. So it makes sense to head to Valaki and then carry on west towards the forests in the west. Sort of you head west and then south.
There's a couple of other points around there as well,
Yeah.
or past Valaki that I think we want to go to.
Yes.
So, yeah, it makes sense then for everyone to go to Valaki first, and then we can work out what order we want to do things in.
And Jack being Jack, for the greater good, yes, he wants to find his steed, but he wants to make Gertruda and Ireena and Ismark safe before that, because he has an inherent drive to protect rather than selfishness. And Jack kind of weirdly explains that in a less complicated way, that Valaki is the most obvious choice and make sure everyone is safe first.
Something along the lines of like, we've got to help Ireena and Ismark first, but then let's go get my horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And makes a solid point about finding his horse.
Very good. Yes. Would you like to gaze at the map any longer, or shall I take it away? I can, of course, share you the file after the stream.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where my horse is, so.
I mean, are you doing anything to the map to try and determine where it is? Are you just looking at it? Are you what are you doing? Tell me.
So yeah, this is me as a slightly meta thing.
Mhm.
As a player, I have no idea where my horse is.
Yeah.
Based-
Your character has an inbuilt certainty now that they know where their horse is.
Okay, so based on that, and this is where it comes down to the DM,
Uh-huh.
is whether it's something that Jack knows explicitly exactly where the horse is, which he can relate, because my whole explanation before was me more as a player not knowing exactly
No,
where
that's
the
fine.
horse is.
Everything you said sounded Absolutely fine, perfectly reasonable. I was just seeing if there was anything you wanted to do to try and use the map in any way. Totally fine. If you just want to go, we'll come back to it later. That's all good.
You trying to encourage him to go into the map? Is that what's happening?
Yes. Good.
Ask
However-
M to bring up the map screen.
However,
Here's the little Jack icon that
Press
floats.
M to bring up the map screen.
if Jack does explicitly know where his steed is, he would like to relay that to the party and says that he wants to get there and he is drawn to it. However, his priority is making sure people are safe.
Okay. Just from looking at the map, you can't go, oh, it's there. But should you wish to experiment in any other ways, please let me know.
No.
However, you do in your brain have a sense of like, oh, it's off here, and you know
Yeah.
exactly where. So
That sort of thing where it's we go to Valaki because it's the road to Valaki leads north, which then links to a road south, which is where I think my steed is. Rather than pinpointing following the general topography of the map.
fair enough. Right. Well. Okay. So, are we done with the map for now? Back to faces. Okay.
I think it's done. Yep.
Hello, everyone. We are back. We have looked at a map. So, would you simply like to head for Valaki?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
Everything Jack has said has been relayed to
Yeah.
the team.
That's all good. Are you keeping up with Granny? Are you slowing down to match pace with Granny, or are you just letting Granny do her thing? Because you were all able-bodied people. She's an old woman pushing a cart, but she seems perfectly happy.
Like, hey, right, enjoyed your custom. Assume you don't want to buy the poisons, so I'm heading off to Barovia to sell my pies.
She's got a bit Dame Edna Everett, though. I'm silly. That was a bit of a choice.
Anyway, yeah, right. You're
Yeah.
leaving?
Jack has taken control of the cart and is pushing it.
Come back with my cart, you little shit!
Like hobbling after you at
also
about
going
3/4
the
speed.
other way if she's going to Barovia and we're going to Valaki.
Yeah,
Right.
we're going in opposite directions, Jack.
Well, she was going to Valaki.
No, she's just said Barovia.
Oh, well then, fuck it. And he just drops the cart.
The greater good.
Wave her stick after you.
The rest of us really appreciate you letting us stay with. What was your
Yeah.
name?
Oh, they call me Granny. Granny Bones.
Thank you, Granny Bones. That's a lovely name. I really like that. That's really cute.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was Luna talking. Granny Bones is such a good name. I'm gonna get a skeleton for Halloween and call it Granny Bones.
All right, now,
Yes, very nice.
you
to meet
kids make
Thank
sure
you.
you're not out after dark again. It's bloody dangerous round here.
You got any recommendations of places to stay between here and Valaki?
No, Valaki.
It's only a few hours
it
away.
won't take us.
Yeah.
It won't take us that long.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yes, no, it's about 5-6 hours that way if you follow the road, which I advise you do, because otherwise you will die.
Any recommendations in Valaki?
I- as- don't
Have-
stare at the locals.
Have they got a?
You're a strange one.
They got a Valhalla there.
Do they do tapas?
No, there's one inn. It's called the Blue Water Inn, and that's it.
The beds.
Meds,
You said
Beds.
meds too.
beds. Yes, it's an inn.
Doesn't mean they're decent.
Well, they're the only beds there are, so it's that or sleep outside.
All right, I'll gauge it when I get there.
You do that, love. You do that.
She kind of like hobbles on. The rest of you hopefully walk at a faster pace and outpace Granny. She wanders along with her cart, pushing quite happily. let's cut to the quick. Can we get a group survival check, please?
No.
Uh, 12.
I'm trying to find my D20.
Total of 8 for me.
Okay, so 8, 12.
Again, 12 and 8 doesn't make 20.
It does, but yeah. It's fine.
7.
7. Okay. It takes you about 7 hours overall to get to Vallaki. You're held up by a sudden kind of unexpected landslide in the road. You find some kind of men who are busy there with.
Are they just normal?
They're just innocent men.
Innocent men.
Yeah, no, you find some men at kind of this landslide who are across it, basically trying to clear the road of all this rubble that obstructs your path, that delays you for a little while because you're lovely and either stop and help them, or you're not lovely and you stand and jeer at them for a while and then proceed.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Either way, it takes a while to get there. However, after 7 hours travel, basically a full day's worth of travel, you find yourself arriving into Vallaki as not as the light begins to dim, but as you begin to get rather hungry. As you approach the village, you see that there is a large, very similar to Barovia, but more well-maintained palisade wall that runs seemingly around the outside of the village. You've been walking through these kind of like pine forests for the past couple of hours, hearing noises on either side of the road. Probably just normal wildlife. It's fine, don't worry about it. But it has had you on edge a little bit, more than you probably normally would be. However, you're very relieved to see the walls of Vallaki in the distance. However, as you get closer, what you see is on either side of the road there are many stakes driven into the road, much like toothpicks. And atop each of these stakes is the head of a wolf that have been impaled on these stakes. Some actually have 2 or 3. And you see the gates open before you. The road is muddy, and you make your way between these stakes through the gates of Vallaki. And at which point we shall end it for this session, for we have been going for 3.5 hours. However, you have now successfully made it to Vallaki. Yay!
Yay!
We didn't have to fight again.
Yes. Yeah, sadly the puppers, Retro. Sadly the puppers. Also, happy birthday to VizWiz if you're still in the chat.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Fizz.
Happy birthday!
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
So, just as a quick wrap up, thank you very much everyone for coming along. Everyone in the chat, obviously, thank you for watching. Everyone who is not in the chat, i.e. has been playing the game, thank you. Big thank you for everyone who has been doing that. Nami, before I double do things on things that you're doing, are you going to be doing shout outs or shall I? I have them prepared. Okay, very well. In which case, with us tonight, we have had Tex Unplugged.
Hi. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to be first.
I do apologise.
Yeah, we should probably clarify what are you looking for us to say, Kirby? Do you want me to just say hi? Do you want me to?
Okay, it's your channel. Promote
Do you
yourself.
want me to tell people about myself?
Do what you want. I'm not your
Hi,
boss.
I'm Tex, and here's a 2-hour essay on my no. But hi, I'm Tex. I am a variety streamer on Twitch. I do a mix of video games, some FromSoft stuff. Currently playing through Tunic and Kingdoms of Amalur. I also do some TTRPGs. We did a bunch of Blades in the Dark last year, and it was great. I also do some live music, so variety in the truest sense of the word.
Fantastic. Excellent. Next up, could we have Luna, also known as Luna Mort?
Hi, I'm Luna. I would say I stream, but that feels like a bit of a lie at the moment. I'm gonna say it's because I'm gonna move house soon, but I don't actually know if we're streaming tomorrow. Are we? Don't we stream tomorrow? Yeah, we are. Okay, yeah, all right. So it's not a lie. Tomorrow I'm streaming with Tex. Well, Tex is talking about Dark Souls 3 lore while I die lots and lots. Because I've forgotten what I'm trying to say. I'm doing a playthrough of Dark Souls 3 as my other D&D character on my Twitch channel, which Tex is also there because he taught me how to play Dark Souls 3. I wasn't ready to say anything. I'm sorry.
Luna's great. Go follow
We're
Luna if
streaming
you're not
tomorrow.
following her already. Why aren't you following already, you dicks?
Oh, that sounded a bit mean.
I know.
It's perfectly reasonable.
I was joking, of course. You're not all dicks. Next up, we have Gaijin Gamer.
Hey, my name's Adam. Which you know me as Gaijin. I don't know why I say from Gaijin Gamer because it's just me, but as you can see, sneaking in the weird little corner of my mic, we have Jenny, who is always there. But I'm basically a variety streamer that also does the occasional D&D one shot, which next week we will actually be doing again. We will all come together again, and we will do a chaotic D&D one shot where usually someone, not me, screws over my whole campaign within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Hey, in person, it was me that did it.
And in person, it was Luna that did it. So come join me for that, where I will plan a campaign or a one shot, and it will all go to pots within about 30 seconds, and it will all be improvisation.
Oh, Gaijin, have you remembered that we have a goat now?
What?
Frank the
Did he
regular
brought-
goat. The goat you
Yeah.
stole, you bastard.
Yes. Did he brought a goat home? Do you remember?
You remember that
No.
goat from the one shot that was
Don't
never going to
forget-
appear again?
Don't forget that there's a goat now, because we haven't.
That was Frank, right?
Frank the regular goat.
The regular goat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've realized Diddy as a character has no idea what's going on. But the more exciting news is this is a teaser that I'm still trying to work my head around. I am looking to run a Lord of the Rings campaign based on a new TTRPG that's come out. So keep an eye on that with this lovely chaotic crew as I try to figure out Lord of the Rings and a TTRPG. So keep an eye on that. It's in the works.
Just very quickly, while we're talking about NPCs such as Frank the regular goat, there were some people who've redeemed NPCs to be included in D&D games. They are in this game. We just haven't encountered them yet. So we have some sexy demons. We've got a couple of mystery ones that I won't spoil for people, but we know about the sexy demons because obviously. So yes, those will appear at
he
some
says
point.
as if they've ever appeared in your games before.
You know, it's just sometimes they're just a locked door away.
They're like buses.
Okay. Anyway, last but not at all least, we have our wonderful mod, Nummy Numbers.
Sorry, I was just doing my own shout out there because I get worked very hard in this channel having to do everything for Kirby because he's rubbish. Anyway, I am a streamy person and I do my streams. Thank you for the treats, Tex. I do deserve them. I do my streams with Joanna Wanna and RLJ on Booty Bay Squad. And we are Twitch's foremost shit FMV game streamers. So if you want to watch some shit FMV games, then you should come and watch us because we play them all. And maybe soon, if you're lucky, you might get to see LJ doing nut shots on Sniper Elite. And I don't really know what else to say. They're great, so come watch the channel. even if you don't like me, it's okay because they're there as well. So I only take up like a third of the time, so it's all fine.
As if anyone doesn't like Nummy.
I was going to
That's
say, I am
outrageous.
also, I'm not obliged to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, that Nummy is great, obviously. So, and does fantastic work as a mod, even when I frustrate her.
Thank you.
Right, so I think that's the majority of what we've got to do. Yeah, just a reminder, I'm Kirby Rawstorn, charity streamer under the organisation Roll Together, an organisation that believes in the positive power of gaming to put good out into the world using games, as if you didn't already know because you're already here. Except for maybe Dragon Daddy, who might not have known because it was their first stream. I'm assuming Daddy is male, but who am I to assume?
Maybe they're saying their dad is a dragon.
That could be it, exactly. I apologise for assuming your gender, Dragon Daddy. But yes, thank you very much, everyone, for coming along. Jax, I believe, is streaming at the moment, so we will go and give him a raid. Who is another lovely person who's come and done some D&D with us before, so we're going to give them a raid. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along. There should be a stream tomorrow afternoon. I'm saying that now. I may change my mind tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure I won't, in which we'll be doing some painting and just chilling out a bit. I am still trying to work through all the bloody Warhammer that I've got on the side, so it'll probably be that. But hopefully come along, have a chat, have a chill. Thank you very much, everyone, who's come on to play. It's been great to have you. It's been really fun to run this for you. Thanks, everyone in chat, for being there. We'll see you all again soon. We will be doing more Strahd much sooner. There'll be a much shorter gap than last time. If you want to make any fan art, do any of that, feel free to drop into the Discord. If you want to tell everyone how rubbish we are, don't do that. Just why? Yeah. And yeah, we're going to go give Jax a raid now. And we will see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.